Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Higurashi. I believe we are at the end of Chapter 8 and about to begin Chapter 9 of, well, Chapter 2 of this game. Let's enjoy. We are in so much shit right now. There's no way I'd be able to sleep. Yeah, you're probably going to die at some point. That'd make it pretty hard to sleep, but it's okay. It's okay. It'll all be over soon. I was honestly trying to think of a positive, but I guess maybe he could try and beg Shion for his beg Mion for his life. Would that work? He's kind of dating her sister, but her sister is also in danger. When she hung up the phone like that, I realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally who would support me was. He just realized how much he fucked himself here, didn't he? That feels good, man. Feels good. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What would I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep? No matter how long I waited, however, it never rang. Exhausted, whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. In the end, I brought the cordless phone with me into my futon and went to sleep with it in my arms. Though it still didn't amount to anything. Morning came, and by that time I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That was when a fierce drowsiness assailed me. Damn it. This is no time for sleep, Keiichi Maibara. I slapped myself in the face a few times. Then I went to the washroom and washed my face, which is something I usually didn't do. It wasn't enough either, so I even brushed my teeth. Is that also something he doesn't do? After that, I was finally wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide. What's wrong, Keiichi? Are you going somewhere today? Going somewhere? Yeah, to school. Keiichi, you don't look so good today. Do you have a cold? I'm not sick, I just didn't get much sleep. If I space out and start talking nonsense, just humor me. I wonder what kind of nonsense you'll say, I wonder. Now I'm looking forward to it. I felt utterly shattered and still hadn't picked myself back up this morning, and for precisely that reason. Reina's honest smile was a sight for sore eyes. That's the whole reason he got out of bed. Yo! What's up, Kei-chan? Reina? Good morning. That's exactly what I'd say for a good morning. Miko? What? Mi-chan, you look like you didn't get much sleep either. Mion had gone home early yesterday with a hangover, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow. Yeah, I went to bed at like 3. I'm a little tired. 3? Hey now, you can't keep staying up late. You probably read the first volume of a manga, thought it was interesting, and read the entire series, didn't you? I understand, I've done that before. Be honest, have you done that before? And don't lie to me and say you always go to bed at like 12:30 or something like a reasonable person. I joked, trying to shake off my sleepiness. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither Mion nor Reina smiled. In fact, they didn't even pay attention. Reina's expression immediately darkened. What? Wait, is it about the mayor? He still hasn't been found? No, wait, hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about? You can't find the mayor? Even the classroom, which was normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed filled with a different sort of murmur today. Good morning, Keiichi-san. Have you heard? It looks like something terrible happened. I don't really know this mayor person, but he's an old guy, right? Couldn't he just be wandering around senile? The mayor is certainly not senile. He's a sprightly man who can teach both calligraphy and swordsmanship. Damn, sounds like he's fit. And has, like, really good... Like, he clearly doesn't have, like, He clearly isn't losing muscle control if he can teach swordsmanship and calligraphy. You need some amount of precision to write. Having incredibly good penmanship, it requires a lot of dexterity and muscle control in your hands. And swordsmanship, if nothing else, I mean, he's probably fit, right? He probably got lost somewhere like me. A lost Rika? I want to take you home with me. He always wants to take people home. Getting lost is only cute because children like Rika do it. A worn-out old man getting lost isn't moe in the slightest. In fact, it probably points to them losing their marbles. They probably have dementia. That would suck. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like that, our teacher arrived. Everyone rushed to their seats. Reina hasn't abducted any children yet, but she keeps claiming she wants to. We'll see if we get to that point. I mean, she was trying to murder us last time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. The class greeting was normal, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy. Reina does not ask many questions. Some of you may have already heard, but last night, despite the late hour, the mayor never came home. Is there anyone here who saw the mayor yesterday? One or two hands went up in the silence, and they told her about having seen him. None of it seemed to be vital information. However, and everyone began whispering amongst themselves. Oh, that's not good. It's a small town. Rumors spread like wildfire. If anyone's seen the mayor, please tell an adult about it, okay? Now, let's begin class. After that, the same old lessons began. Okay. The rumors, once quieted, blossomed in flowers again at lunchtime. I could hear a few different conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Summing them up, I came out with this. Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the Shrine's Assembly Hall. The meeting ended after the sun had fully set and everyone left. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late and Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. What was the meeting? Okay. However, because he would have been hungry, he wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. Who was at the meeting? Some thought there might have been an accident. They left no stone unturned and searched from the irrigation channels to the water wells, and even in the rice paddies, but they didn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. The police were going to wait for daylight and then have the young men of the town help search. After all that they couldn't find him, they were apparently going to go looking in the mountains. Even now, at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, and the more time passed, the only thing that came to mind was the curse. The rumors of Oni Kakushi, the demoning away. Had he become this year's sacrifice to Oyashiro-sama's curse, which recently had been occurring every year? And twice this year. That scary possibility which everyone thought about but nobody could say aloud was slowly but surely spreading through the village. Hour 5 of non-stop farming. It's all you can see. You close your eyes. You close your eyes and you just see more. You just see your characters farming endlessly. I've been there, dude. I've been there. We've even done some streams that were like 6-8 hours of farming. Was he demoned away and offered as a sacrifice to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year. There shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, I knew. The curse happened again this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the Elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I should have been a higher priority than him. If it's the cult and they don't want to kill Shion, they would abduct someone else. The 4 of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomitake-san and Takano had suffered mysterious deaths, it should have been mine and Shion's turn next. This time should have been Shion and me, eh? And he did his usual thing. He spoke the entirety of this out loud. I laughed painfully to myself. I'd yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me had disappeared, I could only think that I should have been first to go. Onigafuchi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police divers were plumbing its depths even now. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person had ever been found. They'd always suspected Onigofuchi, but not once had they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it's a devilish, bottomless swamp from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom. Now that you mention it, Satoshi-san, he left around this time last year, didn't he? What? Satoshi? I've heard that name before. Right, he disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me. I could hear it clearly. Didn't we search the whole village for this for Satoshi-san too? We didn't find him either. What did we decide that was? A demoning away, right? Yeah, I heard he withdrew all his savings and ran away from home. Someone from the police said there was someone who saw him get on the bullet train at Nagoya Station. Ah, ran away, okay. That's what they're giving as an example. Alright. I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable. Yeah, sure, he might have run away. Everyone who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either they're still on the run because they're criminals, or they're a corpse that couldn't be found. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared into the thin air for no reason, but they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever the curse took life, as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. And from that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything. Maybe you just don't have enough information, my dude. It sounds like I messed up the scenery today. Or it looks like it. Sorry. Normally, Reina would have devoured her lunch immediately, but today there was still a ton left. It wasn't because her lunch didn't taste good or anything, though. That isn't the case. Your lunch today is as delicious as always. Satoko dips her chopsticks into Reina's bento box and pulls bits of food out one after the other. Delicious indeed. Today in particular, in fact. Chomp chomp. Nom 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 nom. You know, those are pumpkin croquettes, right? Are you okay? Yes. I heard your pumpkin's delicious. Did Satoko dislike pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Apparently Satoko hates pumpkin. Everyone knew. Nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Satoko kept shoveling it down, repeating her remark on how good it was. If it's that good, I gotta have some too. Satoko's gonna eat it all if we let her. It's just so good. I would certainly like it if Keiichi were to eat some as well. Well, sometimes I have to show my adult generosity, right? Alright. Don't hold back on my account. Eat enough for the both of us today. She hates pumpkin and she's trying to be nice, so she's eating pumpkin stuff. And he's like, whoa, 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 I wouldn't want to steal any from you. Have it all. She really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see Satoko's own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. You said it was so delicious. And he's just like, alright, enjoy. I'll just deliver head pats as you suffer through this. Satoko, in a somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face. No way. You'll never grow up if you give away such good food. Reina, you eat too. I only have leftover vegetable stew, but it tastes great after having sat overnight. Yeah, the daikon radish is such a pretty color going through it. It looks delicious. I guess I'll have some then. Reina reached out with her chopsticks, and at last the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. That was only at our desks, however. The dark tales of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which recurred 5 years in a row now, didn't cease. The whole classroom remained stuck in this somber mood. So, 5 years of Oyashiro-sama's curse in a row. Everyone wanted the previous year to be the last. What was the curse anyway? They're going to build a dam in Hinamizawa. They were going to. The people building it were bad, so they were cursed. I'd admit that much. Still, the project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? Why is the curse still persisting? I hit myself on the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying so hard to brighten the mood, I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. Yeah, stay positive. I forced the grim story out of my head. Driving Oyashiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all. That I would be the next target. It's okay, Kichi, you're slowly losing it anyway. Yeah, it's taking a while, isn't she? How long does it take to wash your hands? Everyone at this school has secret meetings while they're washing their hands. Mion said she was gonna wash her hands and left, but she hadn't come back yet. She's probably taking a little afternoon nap somewhere. I think she was up pretty late last night looking for the mayor after all. I smiled wryly and let out a big sigh. Today was no good. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. She's probably planning on what to do with the mayor that she's captured or some shit. Although the perspective from Mion's pseudo perspective earlier says that Mion's perspective earlier says that it's possibly not Mion's fault. Although they did the 2 killings, so I don't know, if you do all the killings behind the curse, what are the disappearances? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Man, people really like How tonight. People really like that emote tonight. I'm glad you're all enjoying it. It's much louder than the Higurashi. Distracts me from the depression of Oyashiro-sama's curse. No matter how much we try to lighten the mood, even by saying how a million times, it's still sad. It's still a depressing day. It's just a no good day. I just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Yeah, you probably should have left the minute you heard about the curse. My dude, just get the fuck out of Dodge. Maybe I do need to appreciate that. Unfortunately, our character is a minor and can't control where he lives. When Mi-chan was really the mayor would always spoiler. Ooh, close connection to the mayor. Interesting. When she was going through her prankster phase, he loved her like his own daughter. He told me that often. Isn't she still a prankster? Or do you mean like a Satoko prankster and not like a playing tricks in games? Ah, well, whatever. I see. Mion's in shock too. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a scary thing. Especially when your group's the source of the curse, right? It's like, think of it this way. She's like, we can disappear someone every year thanks to the power of this curse that we made up. Probably because we like fucking murdered the damn dude. The damn foreman. And then all of a sudden someone else disappears and they're like, what the fuck? Like, didn't we do this? Didn't we do all the other ones? What's happening now? If the sacrifice was someone you knew, though, then the shock must be 100 times worse. Satoko, as if she'd come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward. Rika's taking a while, too. Maybe they're taking a nice afternoon nap together? Remember, 2 main clans are the Furude and, not Satoko, Sonozaki, which are both... They're both like the heir or heir apparent to. So whenever they're hanging out together, it's possibly not good for us. Rika wasn't out that late. As soon as she yawned, everyone gathered around her and started saying good night. Now that she mentioned it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika during the festival too. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika discovered a way to get herself to be pampered like that? Is there a reason the old people treat Rika like an idol? Is she their ideal image of a granddaughter or something? I don't know anything about that, but I want to see Rika yawning. It's probably like all like, whoa. I want to take her home. She said that, but she's never taken any person home. I don't personally think it's that cute. It's more of a gua, and she opens her mouth really wide so you can see the back of her throat. Her throat? The thing in her throat all wobbly? I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Oh, right. I'm on day duty, aren't I? I need to go water in the flower garden. The garden's right outside the teacher's lounge, too, so they can immediately tell if you don't do it. Right. I think Satoko is cute. Not only Rika-chan. Uvula? Can't breathe. I got a glimpse. It was so cute. Satoko-chan's cute. I'm gonna take you home too. Reina was squeezing her hands around Satoko's neck, trying to get a look into her throat. You know, Reina is... I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious... isn't she? Hearing Satoko make weird noises like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom erupted into laughter, too. Maybe Reina was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. This building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing as thoughtful as a garden here before. Good night, my dude. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one here as a modest gesture of appreciation. But, well, the flower bed, it was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big, one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it done. Jesus Christ, that's a huge flower bed. Unless it's like one of those tiny watering cans. Like, are they talking like a full-size watering can that holds like 5 or 6 liters easily? Like, they usually hold like 10. Like 10 liters of water isn't enough to water a garden? I was doing this together with a kid who was also thankfully on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. I couldn't make a kid who'd struggle just to lift the full watering can help me with this. For this, if one was placed on day duty with someone one liked, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be cake. No point blaming her. I give up, I'll just get started. Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me. Sonny, there's a vegetable garden behind the warehouse, right? It's all just about dried up. Water that too, would you? Oh, you mean that curry vegetable garden? The one with the potatoes and carrots and other things that are only ingredients for curry? We have a curry garden! A curry garden! You're like, what vegetables would they have planted in Japan? And it's like, well, you see, we need all the ingredients to make curry. That's what we need. It's definitely the personal garden of our curry-loving teacher, but making students responsible for his upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't see that to his face, though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I swear to God, if that guy was just given like a hint to go back there to talk to someone and didn't do it, I'm gonna reach through my freaking monitor and slap this kid. I passed by the classroom, and I don't know how it happened, but Reina and Satoko were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all the desks in a circle, forming a ring while everyone was cheering them on. Yeah, that's how it should be. Once school ended, we'd need to return to reality, where talk of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. In that sense, Satoko's whirling elbow and Reina's backwards flying spin kick made for a pleasant sight. Even if as a result they flipped over my desk. Oh, that's my pencil box! I'll just let it happen today. Whatever. I set to work, hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner had I thought that than I remembered I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too. What a pain, but I have a feeling it'll bite me if I don't. Come back to bite me if I don't. I gave up, filled up the can with water again, and headed behind the warehouse. This was a place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here, and you couldn't discard the possibility of slugs and pillbugs being around. When I ran across her in a place like that, I was surprised. Oh, it's Rika. Don't scare me like that. Rika was just standing there like a puppet devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. Rika didn't even seem to react to my appearance. Rika? Earth to Rika. Do you read? Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck in her hair, too, and her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground. Rika, are you hurt? Did you fall? No, that isn't it, Rika said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. She didn't look anywhere near normal, though. What happened? You weren't sleeping on the storehouse roof and then fell off or anything, did you? Don't worry about me. I have something I want to ask you, Keiichi. Rika walked over and clung to me. At first I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized it was so I wouldn't run from the question she was about to ask. I shuddered. What do you want from me? She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answer out of my own eyes without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes from her. Keiichi, did you do something bad on the night of the festival? My body gave a jolt from its very core. Dude, the answer is not. Nope. Didn't do shit. Rika, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up from my feet, and after going up my back and freezing my entire body, it made its way to my brain. Keiichi, really not remember? My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Mion asked me. Uishi asked me. Shion asked me. And now Rika was asking me. We thought nobody knew about what we did last night, but in fact everyone knew. They all knew and they came to ask me. Until I admitted again and again. I mean, you can't even admit you did anything to Shion, so you better not do it here. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear the whole thing was out in the open. After all, don't Tomitake and Takano's deaths prove it? Keiichi? How should I respond? The correct answer is deny everything until you talk with Shion. You need to get your story and your plan straight. We never should have entered the Forbidden Storehouse, and even though I regret it so much, was she saying it wasn't enough? I'd all but decided what I was gonna say, though. I'm not exactly a good kid, you know. Wait, what? This is where he's going? I swear to God, kid. I've done lots of bad things. I can't remember anything specific. Just as I had with all the others, I evaded the question. Rika stared up at me with innocent eyes. Her eyes were so painful I had to look away. After a few moments of mutual silence, Rika released me. I'm sorry for asking you something strange. Please forget about it, she said, smiling her usual smile. The correct answer is, who the fuck... Now, the easiest answer is to respond with, like, aggression and be like, who put you up to this task? I had the fucking cops asking me that earlier. Be like, who put you up to this? Who told you? That, like, 4 people had asked me that, including the cops. And you just assume it's like a prank, right? Then, tap, 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 she went running off as if nothing had happened. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me. I'm gonna need a source for Type Moon being able to tell them to write the background high school teacher out of the story forever. I'm not sure that's something you can just outright claim. But this is weird. Rika-chan. If she didn't hear my voice, I was gonna give up. However, she heard it. Wait, what are we planning on doing? She swiveled around and waited for me to continue. Ask why the police are asking. That would be a good question. Why are the police asking? It gives her information, and maybe... It gives her information and it doesn't make you look guilty? I was the one who had questions now. Still, asking any of them could be a half-assed way of admitting what I did. Hey, Rika. What is it? If everyone knows it anyway, I should be able to at least ask this. Oh god, this guy. He hasn't stopped throwing all day. Come on. Why is everyone asking me about the night of the festival? There we go. Good question. That evening. I don't think... God damn it, he didn't actually ask that. I hope plenty sorry. I only looked anyway. I didn't break anything or steal anything, really. Still, Tomitaki and Takano died miserably. Since those two had come to an end, there's obviously no way it would only forgive me. Rika cutely tilted her head in confusion and waited for me to say something. Dude, just ask this question. Ask this question. Why is everyone asking me about the night of the festival? If I were to admit to what happened that night, though, she might suddenly do a 180 as if flipping a switch. Dude, I wouldn't admit to shit right now. Especially when Ueshi says that your friends are with the mob. Like, that's a terrible idea. She's gonna go report to you and get you fucking murdered like the other 4 people who got murdered. Like the other 8 people who got fucking murdered. That's a terrible idea. Like, there's literally no way out if you admit to anything. That would make sense. Rika was the shrine maiden. She was the least likely to forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflecting, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than Mion or Ueshi? Rika could give up and leave. Just ask why everyone's asking. Like, what's so important? What happened during the festival? Like, it's like the easiest question. It's like the easiest thing to do is like, you don't need to like awkwardly deny stuff. You're like, oh, why are people asking me this? I've been asked this like 5 times, man. It's fucking weird. Like, nothing, like, the festival happened. It was okay. We got split up. I was kind of annoyed about that, but it's no big deal. Why is everyone asking me? Like, did something happen? Right, she didn't. She was quietly waiting for me to say it myself. Say it, Keiichi. If you really are sorry. Don't do fucking Christ. Should say so. Of course, it's normal to hesitate given the crazy way Tomitaki-san and Takano died. Just say, like, sorry I didn't have the best view or something. A pulping machine called Chaos was grinding up my brain. Why not just come up with a question you want to ask in the first... The juice wrung out of it turned into big droplets of sweat which began to fall. Keiichi? Rika suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on the head. I don't really understand what you're worried about, Keiichi. I had nothing to say to that. And I don't know what the fuck he's doing here. I had nothing to say. I lowered my head so Rika's palm could reach it. She petted me, kind of like one would a cat. You know about the big storehouse a little way behind the shrine grounds? It stores the implements we use for ritual. Oh, does it? My breath literally stopped. I don't know why this character's being... Keiichi literally cannot stop giving away obvious clues. Rika, it wasn't acting in a coercive way at all. Dude, it's Rika. You literally call her the fucking siren. And you're saying she isn't trying to wring information out of you? Apparently on the night of the festival, a cat snuck into the storehouse. A cat? Yes, a cat. Meow, meow. Rika knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right words so she wouldn't scare me. The cat always wanted to explore inside the storehouse, but I was mean to it and never let it go inside. So on the night of the festival, the cat couldn't hold itself back any longer and went inside. The cat. It was clearly supposed to be Takano-san. Or was it supposed to be me? Inside, there were actually lots of things that scared the cat. Rika made a cute gesture like a ghost was coming out to frighten me. Why can this guy not like respond like a normal person for like 2 seconds? The cat was both terrified and amazed. It ran away as fast as it could. Clatter, clatter, shiver, shiver, meow, meow. It was terrible. This cat, here he is saying it was. My god, he can't even say one line. Come on, dude. The cat's a cat. Meow, meow. Rika still avoided saying it. The cat, though, was without a doubt me. Probably, because this kid, I don't know why, like, it seems really weird. His reaction seemed like so reasonable in the first game, and in this game, it's like he's completely unreasonable. He just can't stop being an idiot. Like, he literally, every single second thing he does is really stupid. Or he'll, like, do something like this, where it's like, okay, a really weak deflection. He does, like, a really weak deflection. And then he just sits there and, like, baits himself into more trouble. Like, making it even more obvious how suspicious he is. It doesn't make sense. Like, is he like conflicted between trying to brag that if he was conflicted between trying to brag that he broke in and not telling anyone, I'd understand. But instead, it's like he's like conflicted between trying to dig himself a hole for no reason It's like take the fucking cop at his word and be like they're mafia. You're not guilty for shit because they illegally acquired all their stuff. Like, who cares? Fuck them. I just don't get why he's like, in this route he's digging himself such a hole, but he doesn't have like the weird sorceress shit. Like he's not hallucinating shit. There's no weird telepathy shit going on. Like there's no reason for you to ever give a fuck what you did, other than to be like scary because they're like crazy guys that might murder you. Like again, they're like Yakuza. Like it's not like you're, it's like, it's not like they legally acquired all that. They legitimately acquired that stuff or aren't like mass murderers. Like, you probably have the moral high ground, even if you accidentally murdered one of them, okay? If you were to, like, kill one of them while sneaking out of the storehouse, you'd probably still be okay on, like, you'd probably still be able to claim some sort of moral high ground. Be like, I thought he was gonna kill me, and then it turns out he's a mafia, and you're like, well, I guess he was gonna kill me. They're all fucking murderers. Like, come on, man. You're like, I was scared for my life. You could just say you were scared for your life. You'd probably be right. This kid panics over everything, so that works. All right. Rika, tell me, the cat, what should it do now? Oh my god! Is this kid like this stupid? Jesus Christ, man. Stop making it, like, so obvious. Just stop. You need to stop. It's time to stop. Just stop, dude. What should the cat do? It was a desperate question to ask. I'd sort of admitted to being the cat. You're like, all you're doing is digging yourself a hole every single time you talk to someone. You need to stop. The cat's just a cat. You can keep meowing. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. That's stupid. Shouldn't it just keep meowing? Shouldn't it just keep meowing? Jeez, Rika and I have put an entire conversation together using cat as a code word. And this kid won't stop with his stupid conspiracies and paranoia. Come on, dude. I didn't say it directly, but I'd already admitted it. I didn't want to end up like those two. I didn't want to be a sacrifice like Shion said. That's what I thought, so I stubbornly remained silent. But now, that's enough. It can't just keep meowing. The dog saw the cat making mischief and sneaking inside. What? Why is this guy still going? Please stop! For like 2 seconds, stop with this. Rika, what should the cat do? It should keep meowing. That's stupid. Shouldn't it keep meowing? It can't keep meowing. The dog saw the cat making mischief and sneaking inside. Why is he going here? Stop! Just stop! Stop! The dog. That's right. It was the dog. It keeps coming to the cat and trying to say that it snuck inside. After I said that, Rika's expression clouded over. She was trying to hide it, but I already noticed her eyes darkening. That's because you won't stop. Please stop. I swear to fucking God, just stop for 2 seconds, Keiichi. He can't keep doing stupid stuff like this. Please, for 1 minute, Rika. The silence was frightening, so I spurred her on. At that point, Rika grinned. Like, if nothing else, stop your paranoid bullshit and just, like, act normal for 5 seconds. Where's Papa Franco's? It's time to stop visual when you need it. It's alright, I'll protect the cat. Huh? I thought for a moment I'd misheard those words, so dependable they were. The cat's really scared, but it isn't all that bad. I think all the dogs are just misunderstanding. It's not all that bad. The cat's worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure. Rika will do something about it. I don't even know left from right at the moment, but so Rika didn't look all that dependable. Might be hard, but I'll do my best. Go for it. Yay! She clenched her fist and stuck it in the air. Rika said the cat can keep meowing. She said to leave it all to her. Is that really all it took to resolve this? Will you really be alright, Rika-chan? I do my best. Something bad could happen to the dogs, too. I had no idea what Rika was talking about anymore. She'd been talking to me under the assumption I was aware of certain things. So at first I understood her. Around the middle, though, I stopped understanding anything. However, one thing I did know was not to worry and to leave it to her. Rika-chan straightened up once again, patted me on the head and smiled. I was so moved by that reassuring feeling, I couldn't help but start to cry. I don't know why you would I'm so confused. Why does this character trust Rika? Rika is the person who literally uses her charm to convince people to do whatever she wants. You are literally, anything you say to this person, if you're suspicious of this person's intentions, is so bad. If she's trying to get information out of you, she can do it. Walk away. You'll be smiling. You'll be fucking smiling as she pumps you for information, leaves, and then axes you. It's such a bad idea. Why not just talk to Shion? Fuck, man. Fuck, this guy's so stupid. I'm sorry. The cat, it was just a bit of mischief. Didn't think any of this would. It's too much of a scaredy cat. That's why I should never have seen the storehouse. She was right. It's far too shocking for someone to see based on a bit of interest alone. That's why they made it so difficult to look at in the first place, wasn't it? Rika-chan. Please stop, sir! Sir, please stop! What will happen to the cat? He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop. I don't get it. Just stop the conversation. You have enough information. Stop asking for more. Your information, your random desire to do stupid shit is what got you in the trouble in the first place. Just stop for 1 minute. Use your brain for 2 seconds. Come on, dude. What happened to the cat? 2 of the cats that snuck in, well, that night I'd heard Tomitaka and Takano's deaths were being kept a secret. Rika might not have known about it. Tomitaka and Takano? I gave a start at the mention of actual names, though it's weird to do that at this point. You should forget about them. My spine froze again. Forget? Yes. It won't do you any good to remember those 2, Keiichi. The more you think about it, the scarier it'll get. So you should forget about them as soon as possible. She said something so enormously terrifying without letting the smile on her face waver at all. I don't know where you heard about it from, but you should forget everything. Make your mind as clean as a scrub bathtub. Forget? Rika, you know, don't you? You know how those 2 died. No matter how they died, it has nothing to do with you, Keiichi. Rika declared this in a flat voice. Nothing to do with me, so forget about it. The girl before me was innocent and lovable and even seemed trustworthy, but suddenly she took on another dimension. This is why I said stop. You need to stop. Don't get involved with their deaths. I'll help you, Keiichi. Those 2 contradictory statements twisted and distorted my image of the girl in front of me. What about Shion? Why are you still attacking names? What'll happen to her? It might have been dangerous to mention Shion's name, but I couldn't stop myself. That's your problem, dude. Stop. Literally 1 second of stopping at any point in the last 2 days would have been amazing. Rika saw through everything anyway. There's no way I'm gonna fool her or keep anything from her at this point. The younger of the sister cats? Meow meow. Yeah, the little sister cat. Rika appeared to think on this for a moment. It was hard for me to endure. Even this momentary silence. Big sister cat's angry. The little sister cat did something bad, so she's really mad. The big sister cat. That could only mean Mion. I recall being questioned by her yesterday. Keiichi. Big sister cat's not in a good mood at all. I think we should leave her alone for a while. Not in a good mood. Those words sent a shiver through me. I don't even know why he's talking to Rika. Okay. Let's think about this. Mion takes Rika. Let's think of this. Mion and Rika disappear for half the school day. Rika shows up bruised. Rika shows up bruised and bloody, and you're like, damn, dude, I'm gonna like do whatever Rika asks me. And you're like, oh, Rika's asking someone for info. I'll just give her all the info. It's not like she's gonna get her ass beat and have all that information done. Like, there's no way this goes good. Well, right? Everything he's doing seems like a terrible idea. Alright. Mion's mad. She's mad we entered the ritual storehouse. She possibly roughed up Rika. Let's stop having club from now on. Huh? Why? I think we should leave her alone. Rika ended her sentence with such force I couldn't say anything in response. Akechi Mabara? Don't disobey Rika right now. She's the only one who said she'll help me right now. I'll leave things to her just as she said to. I mean, she even said the cat should just keep meowing. I'll forget everything, like she said. I'll leave everything to her. I'll forget everything about Takano and Tomitake like I did, and what I did that night. Ring ring. And just then we heard a bell far away, marking the end of our lunch break. I guess we should go back to class. Keiichi, as if she knows how miserable I was, about to leave everything to her and flee the scene, Rika called out to stop me. If the misunderstanding dog comes to try and bite the cat, please tell me, okay? The misunderstanding dog. She put it in such a cute sounding way, but the true meaning behind those words was an eerie one. Who is the misunderstanding dog? The dog that bit the mare. I don't know why I did that. If I was gonna bite anyone, it should have been the trickster cat first. The flow of blood in my body felt like it completely stopped for a moment. Rika had admitted it. The sacrifice is that terrible calamity. She admitted that if they were to happen again, it would be Shion or me. I didn't know what was true about the girl standing before me. My suspicion gave way to fear and nearly began to change into anger. Was she a savior who would protect me? Or a stranger trying to capture and kill me for the sake of a horrible tradition? Dude, please blow up and start screaming at her. That would be so fun. That would be so amusing. It wouldn't be funny. I don't think I would laugh, but I'd be like, oh my god, we're going here again. It'd be one of those moments where you're like, oh boy, here we go again. Trying to get ourselves killed. I had no idea it was true. Go, man. Go, man. Cat's already scared. And I said something to scare it even more. I'm really sorry. Rika bowed so quickly it looked like her head had been pulled downward. Still, she was right. I was cowering. I could distinctly feel my body shaking violently. So when Rika reached her hand to pat me on the head, I pulled away without thinking. Rika made a very sad face, but I couldn't bring myself to put out my head for her again. This guy is so unbelievably dumb. Like, okay, if you want to go to the conclusion that Rika's on your side, why are you, like, flinching in terror from her? Come on, man. It's not like she told you anything you didn't already suspect. You should just be like, yeah, I thought so, fuck. Alright. Like, I don't know about you, but when I'm like 95% sure of something, and then someone confirms it, my reaction is not to be, like, suddenly terrified that it's real. It's gonna be like, yeah, I thought so. It's usually, yeah, I thought so, or like, fuck, really? It's not usually like... And usually being like, ah, shit, really? Is more like an over-exaggeration that people can tell how I feel rather than actually feeling that way. Because I already, if you're at like your 95% positive state, going from 95 to like 99 is not like a huge difference realistically. You're probably operating under that assumption anyway. Whatever. That day, Rika said she wasn't feeling up for club activities, so she suggested we not bother. There's always vetoes when someone doesn't feel up to it. Rain and the others seemed really disappointed. Well, it happens. Big Sister Cat is not in a good mood. I remembered Rika's words and quietly stole a glance at Mion's expression. I forgot the way she questioned me yesterday, though. Her behavior was the same as it always was. She's good at putting up a facade. She's literally been in like a cult or the Yakuza like her whole fucking life, dude. I wouldn't expect anything less. After dinner, without the energy to watch TV, I climbed into the futon in my bedroom and let my head be overtaken by gloomy thoughts. I told Rika anything and everything. 5 minutes after she got beat up, looking for information or for failing to have found the mayor. Like, I don't know. This is the Yakuza. They regularly beat the shit out of people or chop off their fingers for failing to accomplish something, so having played at least one Yakuza game, I can speak with confidence. That's true. I feel like immediately blabbing everything to a member of the Yakuza who may be desperate not to get beaten up again is like the worst idea on the planet. It's like, oh, I'm sorry you got roughed up. Oh. Here, let me tell you everything that'll prevent you from getting beaten up again. Please don't get me killed. Like, what? She seemed trustworthy at the time, but has that really been the right choice? Dude, go talk to Shion. You need to talk to Shion, man. It's pretty important. The more I look back on it, the less I understood what Rika-chan was saying. Not only did she know about Takano and Tomatake's deaths, but she spoke to them as if she were a concerned party. After all this time in my futon, I began to tremble fiercely. Had I been lured in by Rika's sweet smile and told her things I shouldn't have? Dude, that's like so obvious. I should have continued to feign ignorance. I shouldn't have shown her such a weak side of me. My emotions are a mix of regret and fear, and it colored the darkness of the night with an additional layer of terror. And suddenly, a knock. I might have yelped. That's how surprised I was. Keiichi? I've been calling your name for a while. You have a phone call. It's from Sonozaki-san. It was Dad. I reached out for the cordless phone through the gap in my door. Sonozaki? Which one? The older or the younger? I don't know. Ask her yourself. I took the receiver and buried myself in my futon again. Hello? Mion? Or is it Shion? It's me, Shion. Good evening. I practically jumped out of the bed. It was Shion, who I hoped so desperately would have called me back last night. Praise the sun, you didn't completely tank your reputation with Shion. Maybe she sensibly realized you aren't exactly a reliable person in a pinch, and are prone to panic. Shion, sorry about last night. I got all riled up. I heard what sounded like a deep sigh on the other end. You and me are in the same position, aren't we? I shouldn't have blamed you for everything like that. I'm sorry. So please cheer up. I called you because I'm in a better mood. If you're sorry, then I'll forgive you, so please stop apologizing. Shion's tone still sounded a little angry, but for the moment she said she'd forgive me. Right, we're tied to the same fate. Making sure the other's alright's the only way to guarantee our own safety. Yeah, I agree. We absolutely need to share whatever information we have, so that we don't die like Takano and Tomatake did. I forced myself to swallow a solid drop of saliva. Then let's continue from where we left off. You'll listen without getting angry this time, right? Right? Yeah, I'll be fine. First, it seems sneaking into the ritual stoves was more of a taboo than we thought. Takano and Tomatake's miserable ends, terrible enough that you could call them for a warning, they were more than enough to make me believe that. The culprits killed those two, the one responsible for selling the storehouse, and they'll come for us next. I know you want to deny it, but please accept it. It'll be too late to believe me after you've disappeared, okay? I got it. You can never be too careful after all. I don't want to accept it either. To think that sneaking a peek at the Museum of Torch Devices deserves a death like that, I don't want to believe it. That's what a taboo is. For those who honor it, if one breaks it, no matter how small or innocent their intentions, they would never be forgiven. Support anything we notice that seems strange. If we connect all the tiny pieces we have, just maybe we'll find who killed them. Maybe even the truth behind the incidents the previous years. But you already know that. We already know. That's the worst part. We know exactly who killed them. There's enough information to say exactly who killed those two. The question is who disappeared the mayor. That's the only thing we don't know. Except, let's see. Let's find out if our character's smart enough to put these pieces together. We could find the key that'll resolve everything. You're right. You're right about that. Why not just, like, say, hey, look, Mion seemed really pissed about something. Why not, like, why not do your code talk that you were talking with Rika to Shion here, telling her that it's probably her sister who had those two people murdered. That would probably be the most likely thing to... That would be like the most likely cause, right? In this scenario where we aren't sure the curse is real, and we think it's the cult, and it was probably the cult last time, it is 100% something where you're like, it's probably these two. Let's see if our main character can put the pieces together. All I was doing was waiting in fear, but Shion had already thought that far ahead. How far ahead is it? You know who did it. Like, it's not a huge series of connections. It's not even a big leap. You've been given so much information. Given how trustworthy she felt, I became embarrassed over how passive I was being. I'll start, since I suggested it. I feel somebody's been watching me lately. What? It might be imagination, but I'll tell you anyway. I think it's just me, but if you feel like you're being watched too, Keiichi, then maybe it's not just my imagination. I've been asked a lot of strange questions. Share information. Keiichi, go, please. Please. Don't worry, at the very least, everything's been fine. For me, I think. As I spoke with Shion, I thought back on today. I had no grounds to say everything was fine. See, I suppose it was my imagination. You be careful too, Keisa. Especially when you're by yourself in public. I'm in Okinomiya, so I won't be alone very often, but you live in Hanamizawa. There'll be lots of times you'll be alone. Please be extra careful. You're right, yeah, I'll be careful. I hate how this character, like, this is the one person who he supposedly thinks is on his side, and he's like actively trying his best to be as useless as possible to them. It's so frustrating. About my sister, has she been acting strange lately? Let's see. What does he say? No, she's fine? Or does he say, Rika says she's angry? Rika says she's super fucking pissed off. She's been asking weird questions and asking strangely. Oh yeah, and she was basically interrogating me the other day. Alright, let's see what he says. Your sister? Oh, Mion. Come on, bro! Come on! What do you mean by acting strangely? She's fun! Fuck off, man! Like, this can't be coincidence. He's literally done nothing but think about how strange Mion's been, and it's like half terrified of her. And then when he talks to her sister, he's like, oh, Mion? Yeah, she's fine. What do you mean strangely? Like, fuck off, dude. Fuck off! Yesterday, she came and asked me where I was on the night of Watanagashi. And this guy's like, that's weird. I can't imagine why she'd do that. Like, is he honestly just like, I swear to God, he's the kind of person, if he had a gun, would shoot himself in the foot and be like, oh, I must have been doing something wrong, and aims like a little higher and blows out his kneecap. Like, holy shit, dude. What? She asked me too. The day before yesterday, she asked me. I see. I told her I wasn't there. What did you say? I did the same thing. I just dodged the question. Both of us gave a sigh of relief. Ever since the night of the festival, my sister's been acting strangely. Can't be too careful, so be aware, okay? Mion was acting strangely. Aside from her asking me about the night of the Watanagashi, she hadn't seemed too out of the ordinary. Rika literally said she was pissed as fuck. At least from my point of view. Her twin sister, though, was saying she was acting weird. Why can you not say Rika says she's pissed as fuck? You literally had that conversation. That's the only other conversation of note you've had today. Come on, dude. Maybe it was such a slight change that a stranger like me wouldn't be able to notice. Dude, it's not like he had to notice it. Someone told him it directly. Got it. I'll start being careful. I always have Raina with me on my way back from school, so I shouldn't end up alone with Mion very often. Please be careful. If there's anything that's bothering you, you can tell me. There are plenty of things on this character's mind, and not a single one of them are something he's going to share with Shion, despite how all of them are relevant to Shion's problems. Please tell me Shion doesn't die. This character so deserves to die, like 500%. Alright, is there anything you want to tell me, Keiichi? My turn. That's right, maybe I should report on Uishi-san asking me the same question to the library. Oh, that time you were slow to escape? Yeah. Uishi asked me pretty forcefully whether I was with the Kanu and Tomitake that night, and whether I'd seen you. And he seemed to have seen the four of us together. From the police's point of view, that would make us the last people who'd seen them. I suppose, given that, It's only natural they'd be interested in us. I evaded the question then too, but that might have made them more interested. There was no way I could have tricked that sly old fox Uishi-san. My troubled countenance would only have made him more certain. Hey, Shion. If they're the police, shouldn't we just tell them? I mean, considering our situation, having them on our side might be a good thing. Shion didn't answer right away. For a few moments, all I could hear was her breathing as she thought about it. How did I think of it? Uishi said there was something possibly shady about Mion. At least, I think that's what he said. Yeah, he definitely did. As I explained yesterday, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of influence over Hinamizawa. Uishi's under the impression that the whole village with the Sonozaki family is responsible for the recurrent freak deaths. The whole village behind them? With the Sonozaki family at the center? It's not an implausible theory, though. Please don't get angry like you did yesterday and just listen. I hammered that home before I got too upset. During the Hinamizawa Dam Wars, the priest who everyone was anticipating to lead the dam movement acted as though he were unrelated, so the Sonozaki family rose up to take charge. My sister told you about the battles that happened, right? Yeah. All of Hinamizawa got together, fought as one. They held protests, brought it to court, appeared on TV. In reality, there were many things that happened that were far more extreme. Under the surface, the Sonozaki main house was doing all sorts of illegal things to oppose it. They were acting illegally. For example, they'd sneak into the construction site and steal equipment or break it, or put sugar cubes in gas tanks of vehicles. Sugar in their gas tanks? Why would they? You don't know? It's practically the representative guerrilla tactic. It's used by underground organizations in France, for one. When you put sugar in, the engine gets burned out and breaks down. That's pretty bad, though, isn't it? Destruction of property and nothing less. When they beefed up the guard at the facility, the family returned to attacking important construction personnel who worked there. The government officials who'd given permission for their construction, for example, received all kinds of threats. Not just people from the prefectural office either. Apparently, this reached as far as the Minister of Construction. As far as I heard, they even kidnapped... They kidnapped the child of the Minister of Construction? Really? Kidnapped? Yep. The child of an important person in the Ministry of Construction who was in charge of the dam got spirited away. Then one day, all of a sudden, he was rescued in the Takatsudo Mountains, which are upstream from Hinamizawa. Apparently, there were never any criminal accusations, but people whispered it had been a threat to stop the dam from happening. Besides, there are stories about so many different threats, I couldn't possibly list them all. That's sort of bad, isn't it? Right in the middle of the whole thing, the first incident happened. That's when the dismemberment of the construction worker occurred. People whispered the Sonozaki family brought out the principal offender, but of course, he fled, and they still haven't found him. When she put it that way, the Sonozaki family definitely seemed suspicious. She even seems to think the criminal was erased so he wouldn't talk, which is pretty reasonable of him. It's even enough to make me think. The Sonozaki house is doing some really shady stuff behind the scenes, even though I'm related to them. Are you telling me to believe that? That the Sonozaki main house has done all those bad things? You're wanting me to believe it? I mean, it's not that much of a stretch, dude. If you don't Kei-chan, the villagers do. While they opposed the dam in the upright and lawful ways, the Sonozaki did the dirty work for them. Everyone believes they fought at the front. They'd take the brunt of the criticism. They're respected as the sort of heroes of darkness. I think I only really know one part of it. For example, the really bad stuff, like the kidnapping. I think only a handful of people even know about it. Even Grandma. The Sonozaki family is secretive after all. Secretive, huh? A family so unforthcoming that even Shion, who's related to them, doesn't know everything about them. The Sonozaki family, unlike Shion, her older twin Mion, was deeply involved in everything. And that was not a fun thought to entertain. My sister, though young, was the one who acted as the center of the illegal resistance movement. It gets worse and worse. She's the one planning the kidnappings. Mion was... What do you mean? Well, her dad's a big shot Yakuza. Even when she was little, my sister managed to subjugate a bunch of young street rats. Okay, now it's not even like the cops are telling him. It's literally like the sister is telling him that they're Yakuza. Come on, dude. And she played all sorts of tricks on them and generally got in their way. Mion did that. Ash is pretty laid back, so it might be hard to imagine. They put her in charge of everything from property damage to threats, even acts of violence. So, since she was a kid, they could get her released pretty easily. She learned that her age could be used as a weapon. It might have been indiscreet, but I couldn't help but chuckle dryly. She may have been young, but she was certainly still Mion. Even back then, she had already been known for her craftiness. It's nothing to laugh about. Please take this seriously. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Shion had gotten pretty angry at me. Well, her delinquency soon got her into a position of authority in the Sonozaki main house. It's not unthinkable Uishi-san suspects them for the dismemberment incident and the later ones too. I mean, it's not unreasonable if you're like, yeah, she may or may not have killed anyone, but we know she at least kidnapped a few children of like officials in Tokyo and issued like a bunch of orders for some serious beatings. And ran a gang out of town on her own. Like, she probably didn't have anyone dismembered. Probably. This year, at least. For a few moments, I was dumbstruck at Tales of Mion's past. None of them matched the image I had of her. A younger Mion dirtying her hands with all sorts of crimes, giving the damn construction project hell. As the successor to the Sonozaki main family, she was always right at the center of the vortex of strange incidents occurring year after year. Was that really the Mion I knew? If she's at the center of the problems year after year, I mean, you gotta suspect her of something. Maybe the one I knew isn't the real Mion. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't bring myself to accept these images of Mion I'm hearing from another person. Of course, we know you can't. You can't trust your allies. You can only trust your enemies. Or people at random. Acting in a predictable or rational manner would be absurd. Well, back to the main subject. I just want you to know my sister's someone worth being cautious around. Please be careful. You should probably say we're holding off on club activities because Rika said Mion is too pissed to be around right now. That would be a useful thing to say. Can we please say that at some point? I know we're not going to, but I'm just going to say, I'm thinking. He's not. I didn't want to understand. Mion was a fantastic friend. She would never do something to back me into a corner like that. She did ask me pretty harshly about the night of the festival, but even that, it wasn't like she'd said it in a mean way or anything. Alright, I'll make sure to be careful. Also, I'd like to point out he never said anything about the Rika encounter. This kid has literally he's done nothing but, like, do things that are relevant to Shion, and he's been like, nah, nothing happened, bro. We're sister related by blood, but within the family, we're basically of a different class. I want you to recognize how distant they are from me. Please. The more Shion tells me about Mion, the less I understand who Mion is. The Mion I know wasn't a dangerous person. The Mion you know is a dangerous person, you just refuse to accept it because you're, like, the dumbest person on the planet. She joked around, smiled a lot, and was full of passion. And literally, like, was, like, planning on murdering Uishi at some point. But, you know, now that I realized I held such a view towards her, Shion was telling me to change it. Be careful around the best friend ever. I doubt her. The idea was very sad and painful. Now, about Uishi. If you think it's a good idea, then I think we should give him the information he needs. I think getting the police on our side will work in our favor. You thought so too, Shion? It's just, at the moment I explained this, the police have their eyes on the Sonozakis already. Uishi in particular completely believes they're the masterminds behind the serial incidents. That includes me, of course, so I don't really want to do much with Uishi. I see. If he found out about the Sonozaki family's strife-filled history, he probably wouldn't be happy with Shion either. Last I understood, Mion's instinctive dislike for Uishi-san. It's probably out in the open at this point, but try not to give my name to him. If you agree to that, then I don't think there's a problem with you telling him anything. Got it. I won't mention your name. The police's investigative ability should be quite a reliable weapon for us right now. If Uishi tells you anything interesting, let me know as well. Yeah, of course. This character, literally having, like, nothing but useful information from today, said nothing. Literally nothing. We'll share information and investigate together. Who killed Takano and Tomitake? Oh, who was after us? Until we know, we need to defend ourselves. Anything else? Besides what Uishi told you, I mean? If anything happened, no matter minor, please tell me. Aside from my discussion with Uishi? Oh. Did I tell her I revealed everything to Rika? Yeah, you let Rika pump you for information. Come on. Rika was acting like she knew something I didn't. She told me to leave it to her, but what? Ah, that's right. When I was talking to her, I mentioned Shion's name too. Was that a mistake? I felt like Shion would get angry. Nothing else? Kei-chan? I remained quiet for a little while, so Shion encouraged me to speak, unable to bear the silence. How is this character? How is it that this character literally can't tell his own ally anything, but he can just vomit information to enemies? It's unbelievable. I struggled with what to say, but Shion addressed me instead. Doesn't sound like it. Can I ask you something? I just heard this myself. Is it true? Old man Kimiyoshi went missing? Old man Kimiyoshi? My gut told me that was the name of the mayor. You mean the mayor? Wait, Shion, you haven't heard? I don't know anything. I just overheard my dad talking about it on the phone again. I realized I shouldn't have said that. Here in Hinamizawa, the things that happen around this time, when Oyashiro's curse would occur, would all be covered up. Yeah, actually, last night after our meeting, he didn't come home, so all of Hinamizawa was confused. They searched all through the village, but if they found him, I haven't heard. The police should be searching for him as well. Why did you tell me something that important right away? You see, Shion, our character intentionally avoids telling his allies information so we can tell our enemies to make it more exciting. Isn't it great? She shouted angrily, bringing all her emotions to bear. Sorry, I thought you already knew. I didn't want to hide it or anything. The receiver was silent. Did Shion get mad again and hang up? Shion, hello? Kei-chan. What? What should I do? Shion's tiny, confused voice sounded like it belonged to a different person than the one yelling a few seconds ago. What's wrong? Tell me. We're keeping secrets from each other, right? Shion hesitated for a while, but she confessed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hide it. It's just, the conversation got turned around and... We're on the same side, right? I won't get mad. Tell me honestly. Shion still hesitated for a few minutes. Then in a resigned voice, she continued. Then Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. Shion seemed to think I would yell at her right after she said that, so I heard her catching her breath. Contrary to what she thought, I was a little relieved. Shion did the same thing when I confessed everything to Rika. Though in as gentle as a voice as I could do, it's not set her off, I responded. Old man Kimiyoshi, he's someone you feel comfortable confiding in, Shion? Yes, when I was little, he was really nice to me. Shion felt the same pain as the rest of us from the mayor's disappearance. Rest of us? Our character didn't even know the mayor. He had a different kind of strength from Mion, and as she continued, her voice sounded truly sad and pained. All I did was play tricks on him. I always just smile. He listened to anything I'd say. Such a kind person. Calm down, Shion. It's not like he's dead, right? Don't lose heart so easily. Yeah, our assumption is that he's dead already. What are you talking about? Shion didn't answer, even as I said to myself, I didn't think we'd ever find the missing mayor again. We probably wouldn't even figure out if he was alive or dead. Shion must have been thinking the same thing. Why did you say that then? That night... I told the mayor. We snuck into the storehouse. And then someone saw us. It was out to get us. Does the mayor know how absurdly Takano and Tomitake died? Yes, he knew about it. I told him they died by the curse, that Happy made a sacrifice to calm his anger. I just said it straight out. Right. What then? He didn't get angry. He smiled and told me if I was properly sorry about it, there's no way I'd be deemed away. He was really smiling. He told me to leave it to him. Until Shion stopped sobbing, I was unable to find any words for her. I couldn't imagine what kind of person the mayor was, nor what Shion's relationship with him was like. Words of comfort, however, mean so much to us when we're about to be crushed by anxiety. Today, Rika taught me that too. If someone who gave me such a sense of security were to disappear, I could guess what kind of shock Shion was in. It's my fault. I revealed everything. Stop it, Shion. It's not your fault. No, it is my fault. I told him everything. Old man Kimiyoshi found everything. The best part about this is that Keiichi's already done the same thing, But our good friend Shion is actually sharing information and told us she fucked up. God, Ichi. He had to have been killed. It was right after I told him, after all. He disappeared the same night I confessed. He told me everything was gonna be fine. He found out. So he became involved. I should never have told him. All this should have just been our fault. Only the four of us. It wasn't something I should have told someone else. He got killed because I told him. He got killed because he knew. He got killed because I revealed it. Stop. If they're doing that, then they'd obviously have killed you before killing the mayor. The order's all wrong. You or I should have been killed first. Who that? Why the hell would someone else get killed first? No, it's in order. They must be planning to kill us all last. What? They're not killing the first people who come to mind. They'll start by killing those we're close to. After they've caused us that much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing. Hey, I said calm down. Shion, you're in shock. You're panicking. The mayor's disappearance has nothing to do with you. It's unconnected. It's not related to Takano and Tomitake dying at all either. My words came out as a scream, as if I were sharing them with myself. No, it's connected. It just has to be. I told him, so he was killed. He got killed because he knew. I confessed to him, so he got killed. She repeated the same thing as before, as though she were in delirium. Despite trying to console the crazed Shion, for some reason the shadow at my feet began to freeze. From that shadow, a cold arm reached out, so cold it seemed like it would freeze even my heart just by touching me, and grabbed my ankle. The heat generated by my body, the arm was absorbing it. It was a horrible chill, a freezing cold, numbingly frigid. It was an inviolable chill of fear. Though I sympathized with Shion, I'd been naive in thinking it was something only she had to worry about. In my head, Shion's eerie words repeated again and again. He was killed because I told him. He was killed because he found out. I confessed everything. So he was killed. Those words echoed through my head like a monotone mantra. And finally, even those repetitions took on meaning. The quiet shaking that had overtaken me turned into a violent shiver that shot up my spine. Oh boy. Is he thinking Rika's gonna die now? Rika-chan. It's Rika. What? What did you say just now? Well... The truth is, I told her about it. I told Rika. Today. Rika? You mean Rika-chan? The one from the Fuji Shrine? Yeah, Rika-chan. I felt so scared and uneasy. I did it. I told Rika. When you did, what did she say? She said she'll do something about it for sure. That's what Rika said. And then she smiled. She smiled just like the mayor when she encouraged Shion. Oh, I'm sorry, Shion. I'm a bit worried about Rika. Right. You're that concerned. Don't worry about me. Go find whether she's safe. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll call you again tomorrow. Same time. When I do, you'll know I'm still alright. Got it. I'll be waiting. Okay, bye. Why does he not ask for Shion's number? Sorry, I'm hanging up. I put down the receiver without waiting for Shion to say goodbye. The danger to Shion and myself was secondary at this point. My sixth sense was blaring alarms in my head. I don't like this feeling. If you don't like this feeling, maybe you shouldn't do really stupid shit. It's really bad. It's definitely bad. Damn it, please be safe. Rika! Rika! I mean, if he gets Rika killed, that's kind of funny. How many people will our walking disaster end up getting killed? Keiichi, you're the worst this arc. Scrapbook 8, and their punishment isn't over. Okay, 2 new tips. Just the tip of the iceberg. Alright. 3 families in modern times. As previously described, the council today is a mere shell of democracy. In reality, it's a dictatorship run by the Sonozaki family. Both Kimiyoshi and the Furude families are far from their former glory, and it doesn't seem at all like they've maintained their ancient traditions. Only the Sonozakis have retained their glory from the past, and inherited many colorful traditions from the age known as the Onokafuchi village. Even the most recent verifiable example of Watanagashi that occurred at the end of the Meiji era seems to have been done under the orders of the Sonozaki family. Refer to the three families' genealogical tree from the late Meiji. After the start of the Meiji era, the Sonozaki family wanted to push the development of Hinamizawa village, so they took a strong role in leadership. During the Dam Wars a few years ago, the Kimayoshi family served as the chair of the opposition alliance, but this was in name only. In actuality, the Sonozaki family reigned as leader behind the scenes. People whisper perhaps the Kimayoshi dictated acts of opposition that could be publicized, and the Sonozaki family enacted those which could not. Even in Hinamizawa, they whisper that the multitude of unsettling incidents reported during the dam protests, kidnappings, and such, had been carried out by the Sonozakis. Additionally, they say that perhaps the Sonozaki family's secret maneuvering was responsible for the serial freak death incidents that have continuously occurred in recent years as well. The serial freak death incidents are without a doubt the second coming of the traditional Watanagashi. They must be enacting the Watanagashi on the day of the original Watanagashi, which has fallen to the level of an ordinary village festival in order to remind the villagers of the holy laws of Onikafuchi village. This is why you don't live in remote villages, guys. Weird cult rituals that usually involve murder and blood sacrifices. It's safe to assert that exploring the Sonozaki family is the fastest route for researching it today. If I can expose the contents of the shrine's storehouse, I'd like to narrow my research target to the Sonozaki family next. Their house is strictly guarded by security cameras on the premises, but thankfully I've become acquainted with the sisters Mion, the next heir, and Shion. I want this to be a breakthrough I can connect to my next line of research. Rest in peace, friendo. Rest in peace. Researcher. Oh, don't worry about it. You see, when you order the Oden here, for some reason it ends up on the annual invoice for our gas contracts. So don't be shy and have another drink. The man, red-faced, waved his hand enough to say that he'd had enough, and disappeared into the brilliant neon lights in front of the station. Kuma-chan, you should be taking notes. The most modest people are the ones who live the longest. Was that all true? Well, I don't know about that. Whether or not it's true, I think there's meaning in hearing something that sounds so plausible. Would something like that be a motive to go for the mayor? Kuma-chan, here's what I always say. The motive only has to be enough for the person in question. You need to think about how different people value different things. Bartender, another mug. Although we have been suppressing the information, Tomitake and Takano's deaths were already known throughout Hinamizawa. All the rumors pointed to them having incurred the wrath of Oyashiro-sama for setting foot in the Forbidden Temple, the storehouse for ritual implements. According to the rumors, there were two other people who went in there with them. Shion Sonozaki and Keiichi Maibara. People were whispering in the shadows that those two would be cursed by Oyashiro-sama as well. Apparently, however, the responsibility didn't fall solely on the four trespassers' shoulders. Until last year, it was locked up tight, but this year, it had been changed to a simpler lock. Hadn't that been what allowed thieves to enter so easily? Those were the rumors going around. Have you ever seen it, Kuma-chan? I remember it well. I had to go back there for something quite a while back. Sorry, I don't remember. It was locked up so tight it was scary. There were these real heavy bars holding it shut. It was sealed up as good as a bank vault. This year, it was a very simple and cheap padlock. I mean, to be fair, if the mayor is being murdered for changing the locks, I think that's fair. I mean, I've seen some of the lockpicking lawyers' videos, and honestly, depending on the type of padlock he put in, people should probably be shot for using them. Let's be honest. Some of them are really bad. Although the best I've seen was he used a fork to open a small safe in like 5 seconds. A fork. Like a regular metal fork. That's it. That guy's practically magic, opening locks like crazy. But, you know, a simple and cheap padlock? Come on. Come on. The lone girl protecting the shrine, Rika Furude, disliked the heavy locks and consulted with the mayor, who had replaced it with a simpler padlock. Did the mayor and Rika share the crime? So after the mayor, wouldn't Rika be in danger next? It's a decent possibility, Kuma-chan. I want you to contact all the cars we have in Hinamizawa. Tell them to stick near the Furude Shrine. Got it. So even the cops are thinking Rika might be in danger? So even the cops think Rika's in danger. Interesting. This will be the end of chapter 9. You can definitely get one more in. One more chapter. It's always one more chapter, right? Thankfully, we've been able to control ourselves and just enjoy ourselves a little bit each night. After hanging up on Shion, I searched for Rika-chan's phone number on my school's contact list. Oh, there it is. My fingers trembled with urgency as I failed multiple times to put in the simple 5-digit number. 5 digits? Phone numbers in Japan are 5 digits? That's crazy. Keiichi. There's more than 10,000 people in Japan. There's more than 99,000 people with phones in Japan. This must be before they introduced area codes, I guess. Keiichi, are you calling someone at this hour? It's late. It's rude to the other person. Doesn't matter right now. I shouted angrily at my mother, listening to the dial tone. Pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. The time was 11 p.m. It certainly wasn't early. Why is it ringing in our house? It was essentially the middle of the night. Had Rika already gone to bed? Her phone would be ringing constantly though, so would she get back up for me? Rika didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. She didn't pick up! Maybe she just happened to miss it. Maybe her bed was just too far away from the phone. The sound of a phone ring gets clearer and clearer the longer you go on sleeping. The bathroom? Yeah, she's taking a bath. If that was the case, even if she heard the phone, she wouldn't be able to pick up. It's a little late to be taking a bath, but it's possible. She normally took baths right before going to bed. I'll wait 30 minutes and try calling again. Damn, this kid gets to stay up late. I wasn't allowed to stay up to 11 when I was in grade school. Jesus, dude. Even as I was thinking that, I called her house over and over again. I kept calling. Over and over, I kept calling her, but she didn't pick up even once. I think I kept trying for about 30 minutes, yet she wasn't picking up. Were my calls so persistent she'd gotten scared of picking up the receiver? Dude, call Satoko. Call Satoko or Mion. Call people who actually know where she lives to check on her? Call the police? You're thinking she's gonna get murdered tonight, dude. Call the police. There was no point in doing this any longer. The best thing to do would be to go there in person. Where was Rika's house, though? Shit, I've never even asked her where she lived. Call someone! Her residence was written there on the contact list, but it was an address with mostly numbers. I couldn't tell where it was by reading it. Isn't there a map or some shit in here? Rika Furude, Rika Furude. Her last name was Furude. It was a bit of an odd last name, so it might be easy to find. I rummaged around in the drawer with a phone book, but could only find things like takeout menus and phone numbers for public establishments. Shit. I tore one thing after another out of the drawer, but I didn't come up with any clues as to where Rika's house was. Oh, she's in the country, right? They probably don't have accurate listings or maps. In the phone book, they just have her address at best. Calm down, Keiichi. If you don't know, just ask. Ask someone who does know. Good. That's it. Reina's gotta know. I looked up Reina's number on the contact list. Reina Ryugu. There she was. Hello? This is Ryugu. It was the voice of a grumpy-sounding man. It must have been Reina's father. I'm calling in the night. I need to be polite. Sorry for calling so late at night. This is my bar. Is there a chance Reina-san is around? Reina's taking a bath. Oh, she's done? It's Reina, right? It's Reina, right? Reina, there's a friend of yours on the phone. Oh, right. Reina Ryugu is her real name, wasn't it? I'd gotten so used to calling her Reina that hearing her real name caught me a little off guard. Hello? This is Reina. It's me, Keiichi. Sorry for calling so late. Huh? Keiichi-kun? What do you need at a time like this? Well, actually, I want to know where Rika's house is. Reina seemed a little appalled that I'd call her for something like that at this hour. However, she spoke her next words seriously, as if she'd caught on to how urgent my need was. Okay, sure. You know the assembly hall on the grounds of the shrine? There's a 2-story shack used for storage behind it. That's where she lives. I couldn't immediately visualize the place, but as long as I knew she lived on shrine grounds, I just had to take a look around. Got it, thanks. Sorry for calling so late. Apologize to your dad for me too, would you? Okay, but Kichi-kun, why do you want to know where Rika lives? Reina asked in an unusually sharp way, halting me before I could hang up the phone. I hesitated for a moment about whether to tell her. He was killed because I told him. Keiichi? If you're still listening, could you answer me? Why are you asking where Rika lives at a time like this? Reina affected her usual tone, but beneath her words lay a certain tension, like she'd intuitively sensed something was going on. What will you do, Keiichi? If it's Reina, can't I tell her? He was killed because he found out? I revealed everything Sirius killed. Keiichi? Reina's being serious. Please answer me. Reina asked me once again in a tone so forceful I couldn't imagine her ever using it normally. I was taken aback by her vigor. Reina was Rika's friend, too. She had the right to be concerned about Rika disappearing. If I told Reina then, even if only for a moment, I could drive away my fears. Reina? Well, I can't tell you why, but yes? Reina's tone was seriousness itself. Just from that tone, I could feel her saying, no matter what you say, I'll believe you. That subtle sense of security gave me the courage to reveal the truth. I have a feeling that Rika is in danger. You mean like a premonition? Or do you have a reason to believe she's in danger? I didn't have time to go back and forth with Reina. Still, I think listening to her calm voice soothed my pointless impatience. I don't have much reason, but I told Rika we snuck into the storehouse. The mayor to whom Shion confessed before that already disappeared. It's possible Rika also... I didn't know how to explain it to Reina. While I was tongue-tied, Reina spoke up. Sorry for asking something so weird. I thought about it. It's not like you to be so sure. You need to be sure. Reina laughed a bit, seeming absent-minded. I wasn't exactly in the mood to laugh, so this time I was dumbfounded. Okay. Reina continued in a cheerful yet purposeful voice. You're worried about a friend. I don't think you need a reason to go check on them. Even if Riko's asleep and you ended up waking her up. That's why you did it? None of us get mad. Reina, thanks. Okay, Keiichi, just one thing. You called Rika's house, right? And then you couldn't get through. That's why you asked me where her house is? Yeah, right. I must have called her for over 10 minutes. She could just be sleeping and not have noticed. Rika's house is really small. She'd definitely hear the house ringing, even if she was asleep. The Toko's there, too. There's no way neither would notice. Wait, what? You mean she's living with Rika? Yeah, you didn't know? We can talk about that later. Anyway, if you called that much and no one answered, something's definitely wrong. Reina understood the situation wasn't normal far faster than I could have imagined her to. It made her seem dependable. However, the fact that Reina acknowledged this meant the best case possibility of it being my needless fears might have gone out the window. I'll go to Rika's house right now. Will you come with me? I can show you the way. Sounds good. Let's meet up at the same place as usual. I'll be waiting for you. No, wait. I'll come get you at your house. You just wait there. And tell your family you're coming with me to Rika's house, okay? Will that be okay? We might lose time if you come here. Did you call Mi-chan too? She's usually dependable at times like these. If you haven't, I'll give her a call. My thoughts froze for a moment. Shion just told me to be careful of Mion during our conversation a while ago. If the Sonozaki main house was lurking behind the surface of the annual freak deaths, then the current heir to the family wouldn't be uninvolved. So wouldn't that mean she wasn't uninvolved in what happened this year to Takano's and the mayor's disappearance? Okay, bye. I'll be right over. Wait for me. That's all Reina said before hanging up. And now wasn't the time to be doubting Mion. I needed to make sure Rika was safe. I got changed and grabbed the key to my bike. I figured things would go smoothly if we met up in the place we usually do before school. Reina wouldn't need to come all the way to my house. My parents would probably have ejected. I told them I was leaving, so I creeped out without a word. Nice, nice. Wait, why is he suddenly competent for 2 seconds here? He's like, I can sneak out without getting caught. Why is he doing this? The night was unusually warm and disagreeably humid. You said Rika and Satoko lived together, right? Then it wasn't only Rika. Satoko wasn't there either? Realizing what them living together really meant caused my thoughts to take a turn for the worst. It can't be. Satoko is... She's got nothing to do with this. Even if there were a reason for Rika to disappear, there shouldn't be one for Satoko. She can... Reina was really fast. She approached me on her bike at an amazing speed. Her breath was ragged, painting a clear picture of how hurriedly she'd been going. Hey, Reina, let's get going. Keiichi, I thought I told you to wait at your house. Reina's expression was all business. Was she mad? It came out of the blue and I faltered for a moment. Well, I figured it'd be faster to meet here. Keiichi, don't you get it? Reina shouted, clearly angry. I'd never seen Reina like this before. Do I get it? What's the problem? Reina seemed to notice she's scaring me, took a couple of deep breaths, and continued, but her expression didn't soften at all. Keiichi, the whole village is in an uproar that the elder disappeared, right? Yeah. And now you're telling me Rika and Satoko aren't where they're supposed to be? Yeah. That about sums it up. And you need to be more careful. Do you have any idea how dangerous it is to be standing out here alone in the middle of the night? I began to understand where her anger was going on. It's like, yeah, I'll just be by myself, hanging out. There's no streetlights. Not even under the streetlight. You told your family you'd be going to Rika's with me, didn't you? So in the worst case scenario, if you and I disappear, people know where and when we did. Reina was perfectly level-headed. Ever since the night of the Watanagashi, every night someone died or disappeared. On the night itself, Takano and Tomitake met strange ends. On the next, the elder vanished. And now on the next night, Rika and Satoko were nowhere to be found. I hadn't been thinking of anyone but myself, but I wasn't enough to say that Hinamizawa was a little weird at this moment, but it was in fact extremely strange. Reina had even anticipated our own disappearances and told me to tell my family where I was going. I was embarrassed by my own carelessness, and the need to be embarrassed made me afraid of the night. Sorry, I didn't tell them yet. Okay, let's go tell them together. With Reina beside me, I wheeled back towards my house. And now we go back, wasting tons of time. Great job, buddy. He was seeming competent, but if you want to plan for your own disappearance, he should have just left a note and been like the super competent. But I think he actually did okay. I'm actually not mad with that choice there. Like, sneaking out. His parents seem to be completely uninvolved in the village, so the moon seemed strangely high in the sky, a sky that was uselessly vast and cold. That no matter what, it would never seem like a dream. This cruel fact had already confronted me. On such a crazy night, Reina had been unimaginably dependable. Hinamizawa's metamorphosis, enough to make Reina caution me against carelessness, was to me the most fearsome thing of all. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. We met up with Mion on the way, and she, of course, was unsure whether to leave me about Rika and Satoko's disappearance. Hey, Chan, are you serious? I'm gonna get really mad if this is a joke. Mion was clearly displeased. If this was a joke, it wasn't very funny. I understood how indiscreet my words were. Yeah, you're not being subtle anymore. Ever since the day before yesterday, someone had either died or vanished every night. Rika and Satoko disappearing after all that was something you just couldn't say, even in jest. Hey-chan, if it really is a joke, don't get mad. Smile. It would be a joke after all. It would be a joke after all. Yeah, it'd be a joke. We need to make sure whether it's a joke or not. Yeah. Alright, do that. You're right. Sorry for getting upset. However indiscreet a joke it may have been, if we learned our friends were safe, it would end up as nothing more than a funny story. Yeah, it'd be better to have like an out of season prank than to actually have them be dead, right? Or disappear. That would suck. Having been warned about that by Reina, Mion gave a dry smile, the tension she felt loosening a bit. She mounted her bicycle as well. Our 3 bicycles' lights flashed down the pitch-black roads. They were some of the only illumination outside. Suddenly a use for bicycle lights. Okay, Chan, why did you suddenly decide to call and ask about Rika's house at a time like this? Mion asked me the same thing I had trouble explaining to Reina. Would it be weird to call it a premonition? I couldn't quite tell because it was dark, but I thought I could see Mion smiling very ambiguously. I definitely understood she wasn't convinced, though, despite the darkness. Well, I had a bad dream while I was snoozing and couldn't get it out of my head. But did Rika get kidnapped in the dream? Well, it was more of a vague feeling sort of thing. If Rika had answered the phone, I would have called you and Reina after that. Lies smoothly babbled out of my mouth. Makeshiftly were. Why is he suddenly, like, actually coming out with... He's coming up with bullshit that's actually working. Why is his mind so focused right now? I was lying because I thought telling them I was connected to Shion would be like silently admitting we'd stolen to the ritual storehouse together that night. Whoa, whoa, you couldn't lie earlier about this, but now you can? Mion didn't press me further. I don't know whether that convinced her, but... Or maybe she figured, making sure Rika and Satoko were safe would be faster than making an issue out of it. I felt relieved and, a little guilty. Mion hadn't really been acting any differently these last few days, but I'm still trying to distance myself from her for some reason. It was only because of what I'd heard from Shion and Uishi that she was the successor to some super extravagant gang family. Don't forget, Rika also told you that. Rika also told you to stay the fuck away. No. Was I just trying to force myself to forget? Don't do that, Keiichi. Wasn't it Mion the first to ask about the night of the Watanagashi? In such a harsh tone at that? Have I already forgotten the terror I felt? At such a time, Mion looked like someone different from the Mion I knew. When I think about that Mion, then Shion and Uishi sounds descriptions of Mion made a tiny bit more sense. That's it, isn't it? If it wasn't for how she acted that day, I wouldn't be feeling this way towards her now. What on earth is going on with her back then? I was conveniently thinking only of everything she'd done after that. While disregarding the very first thing, the thing I should have been looking at now, wasn't I? Mion was pedaling in front of me, her long hair fluttering in the wind. No matter how long I looked at her back, it never gave me the answers to any of the questions. Oh, we went all the way to the stone steps leading to the grounds. Of course, we weren't going to want to haul our bikes up there, so we parked them beside the staircase instead. Oh, this is the shrine. Everyone comes and goes as they please as if it were a park, but this place is actually a grand estate owned by the Furude family. So the entire shrine is private property. It really makes you feel the passage of time. 10 or 20 years ago, it would have looked exactly the same. Wouldn't it mean that family is really old? Is their history going back for generations? Yeah, they're gone. That's odd. Reina said something clearly disquieting, so I ran over to her. What's wrong, Reina? Rika and Satoko always leave their bikes here. See? They're gone. I took a look around. Indeed, there were no other bicycles aside from the ones we'd taken to get here. Couldn't they have parked them somewhere else? Could they have brought them up the stairs? Those girls couldn't do that, Keiichi. Just as she said, I couldn't imagine Rika and Satoko lugging their bikes all the way up there. We hadn't yet knocked on Rika's door, but reality was already sparking some ideas that weren't what you'd call good. Maybe they just parked under some trees and we hadn't noticed them. I refuse to believe that not being able to find their bikes here was proof they disappeared. Let's go. The only way to be sure is to check their house. We all nodded and dashed up the steps. Weren't there cops watching the estate? We passed through the Red Arch and came onto the shrine grounds, which were covered in neat gravel. It was so quiet, as though the Watanagashi festival had never happened. So, where's the house? Over here. Come with me. Reina took the lead and sprinted off. We went towards the assembly hall behind the shrine, and then looped around behind it. In the darkness of the night, we found a small prefab 2-story shack that looked like a warehouse. Damn, that is a dinky fucking house. You ever thought your house was small? That looks like a tiny ass house. That is a tiny ass house, dude. That is a 1-bedroom house. That is like kitchen, bedroom, bathroom somewhere. Like kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. There's not even a living room. That's a tiny place. Holy shit. Lights are off. Are they sleeping? Well, let's knock. Rita and Mion entered the shack, which didn't really look like a place people would actually live. It's such a beautiful shrine. I figured they'd live in an equally beautiful house. It was far from what I'd expected. Rika-chan! Satoko! Are you there? She looks panicked. Reina shouted up towards the second floor. Her voice was restrained at first, but it steadily grew louder. No answer. In fact, there wasn't any sort of activity in the house at all. They might be sleeping. Let's wake them up. Mion banged on the shutter with both hands, and the loud sounds echoed in our surroundings. They'd have to notice this, right? They'd turn on the light in the room, fling open the windows, and yell, "What time do you think it is?" Now that, however, wasn't happening. There was absolutely no response. Mion stopped slamming her fist on the shutter, and silence fell over us. The silence aroused terrible thoughts in us. I could feel the blood draining from my face. Alright, time for some good old B&E. It's locked. I wonder if we can get in somehow. Raina showed no signs of stopping. It didn't look like she'd admit they weren't there until we went inside and saw for ourselves. Their refusal to give in gave me strength. The second-story windows wouldn't be locked. I'll give them a try. K-Chan, a ladder. Mion brought over a ladder that was standing against the house. The footing was a little unstable for me to be climbing it, but Mion held the ladder firmly in place. I hadn't climbed too many ladders. My inexperience with them exposed, I climbed one step at a time, and tried to open each window on the second floor. Michan, I'm going to check the main house, just to be sure, okay? I'll be right back. Reina darted away. Wait, a main house? It's the Furude family's actual house. After her parents passed away, I think it's been left like that. Oh, right. Rika's parents, they died, right? At that point, I recalled something else. Wasn't Satoko living here too? Satoko's also an orphan. Her parents fell from a cliff because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. And her older brother, Satoshi, he disappeared. Satoshi, I've heard that name before. I remembered. He's the one who disappeared last year because of the... Haven't we said this like 3 times? We said this last chapter, right? Ever since then, Satoko and Rika have been living in the shack. Neither of them has any family, but at least they're together. They help one each other out. Reina said main house, didn't she? Wouldn't it be easier to live there? The curtains were drawn. I couldn't get a look inside, but... 2 young girls living together? It seemed like a pretty tough life. I think she tried that at first. She said it was hard. It reminded her of her parents. I had no idea. I felt really bad for them. They were normally so cheerful at school. I never realized it out of this. Rika and Satoko have it hard, don't they? She's cursed. Huh? Suddenly Mion said something in such a low voice that it sounded like she was really cursing someone, and I didn't let it slide. I turned around the ladder to face her and asked again. Mion, what did you just say? I said she's cursed. Mion, still holding onto the ladder, brought her head up to look me in the eyes. As soon as her eyes met, an absolute zero jolt of electricity surged through my body. Mion's eyes clouded over, and within them boiled and bubbled a stew of chaos. They whirled around and around like a raging sea, and bubbles floated to the surface. I had at some point been trapped on this ladder like being cornered on a dead-end street. Mion, are you making that face? I intended to follow that up with, "You're going too far with this joke," and give her a forced smile. However, on such uneven footing as I was, the only thing that came out of my mouth was a hoarse groan, as I desperately struggled not to let nausea overwhelm me. Dude, it's just a ladder. Calm down. Satoko Hosha. She's been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Mion answers with a response to something I never asked, as if replying to somebody else's question. The only people who fell from the observation platform were her parents. Only her parents, who treated her like dirt, died that day. She was the only one to survive. Then she was sent to live with her aunt, who treated her cruelly, and the aunt was killed on the night of the Watanagashi by some deviant, who beat her to death so violently her brains were everywhere, and her head an entirely different shape by the end of it. And Satoshi-kun, who always protected her, he suddenly disappeared on her birthday. Someone made him disappear, even though he wasn't abusing her. The police judged him to have run away from home, but Satoshi wasn't the kind of person who would do that. He was always earnest. He'd never ask for anyone else's help. He'd always drag himself through everything with hard work alone. He worked so hard he nearly ground his bones to dust, all for his one and only sister, and yet someone made him disappear. She was the only thing he lived for, and yet someone made him disappear. Poor, poor Satoshi. He was never rewarded, that Satoshi. How ungrateful that child is. She is cursed. All who get near her suffer the same fate. The curse kills them, or the curse makes them disappear. She can't have any relief. It's probably Satoko's fault Rika disappeared too. It has to be. 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 I'm not speaking any faster. It's just it has to. Mion was mumbling over and over that things that were no longer coherent. Her shoulders were trembling so hard I could feel it through the ladder. I almost lost my footing, which made me realize just how far away the ground really was. Dude, just check a window for fuck's sake. Calm down, Mion. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't sure if she even heard me. Mion rocked back and forth, and that rocking and trembling was becoming more violent. Dude, get off the ladder. The ladder, it's falling. Help me. Help. Just then I heard the sound of many people running towards us. Oh, hey, over here! I barely knew I said help me outright. 4 or 5 adults led by Reina ran over here with flashlights. Keiichi, Michin, sorry it took so long. I borrowed the key. Oh, nice one. Seems all the windows and doors are perfectly sealed. I was getting worried. When I heard Mion talking like nothing had just happened, I again felt a chill run through me. It's like Mion's at the center of everything. The person holding the ladder in place was definitely Mion. It was the real Mion. Then, the person muttering to themselves just a few minutes ago. Who was that? The person mumbling about things like curses. Who was that? I jumped down from the ladder as if running away before Mion turned into that person who wasn't Mion a second time. You mean a third time? She's done that twice now. The adults tried a few keys on a keyring as they tried to open the big shutter on the first door. Rika's house used to be a disaster shelter at the town council, but the key to the shutter is kept away in the mayor's house. Rika and Satoko's private residence now, though. Well, this is on Rika-chan's property anyway. Nobody complains about it. Mion gave me a smile as she said that. I, however, could only return her gaze with an aghast expression. Mion was acting too normal now, but that only contrasted with all the more sharply with her earlier un-Mion-like creepiness. Bang, bang, clatter, bang. The shutter opened for the first time in a long while. Reina located the light switch and wasted no time going inside. I followed her in. Rika! Satoko! If you're in here, say something! We climbed a narrow staircase. It looked like nothing more than a warehouse, but now that I was inside, I could feel how lived in it was. It was a person's home. Somehow, the scent of the two of them filled the place. It was definitely where Rika and Satoko lived. The first floor doubled as a town assembly warehouse, but the second floor was a space entirely for living. Like a one-room apartment past the kitchen was a living room taking about 150 square feet. 150 square feet? 10 times 15. That's a decent living room, I guess. Dressers, covers, and the like were packed into the space, and in the corner was a huge pile of clothes that appeared to have just been taken in from drying outside. In the center was a fold-up table, and on it, small containers of things like soy sauce, salad dressing. A sense of a frugal lifestyle drifted from all of it. It was strange they weren't here in the middle of the night like this. The adults, climbing the stairs one at a time, began to make a fuss and talk amongst themselves. So, not here? Yeah, they're not here. It's definitely weird. The village had just been thrown into chaos yesterday because of the mayor's disappearance. And today, even Rika and Satoko had... Were they out playing somewhere together? Can't be. Their bicycles aren't here, though. They have gone so late at night. Have they just not come back yet? Where did they go? The adults put forth various possibilities, and the house immediately devolved into a state of confusion. Eventually, Mion settled them down. I don't want to believe it. But the mayor, Kimiyoshi, disappeared yesterday. We can't say this is unrelated. The adult's faces paled at Mion's declaration. Mine and Reina's did as well. Let's see, they could have gone nearby for tea or something, then fallen asleep. Whoever invited them might not be able to wake them up at all, too. Let's eliminate that possibility first. Makino, go around to the houses near the stream. Yataro, go look near Ojaga Lake. Okamura, you... Mion promptly gave directions to the villagers. The adults followed them without hesitation, despite her age. We'll remain here and call up anyone we can think of on the phone. Okay, everyone? You have your orders. Got it. The adults roared in reply and pounded back down the stairs below. Wow, Mi-chan. You're not the only chairperson of the school, but Hinamizawa too. What a coincidence. No time for jokes. Hey, step aside. This old man's using the phone. Mion grinned proudly and took the receiver, and got started. She gave Mion a trusting look, considering her dependable for doing all this. My feelings were a little more complicated since her leadership seemed to be affirming the Sonozaki family successor impression that Shion and Uishi-san gave me. You're just like, 5 people show up, the 12-year-old orders them around, and you're like, this is suspicious. This is a little suspicious. Stop right there, Keiichi. None of that matters right now. The most important thing is to make sure Rika and Satoko are safe. Let's see. Couldn't there be a clue hinting where they might have gone somewhere in this room? Still, though, I wouldn't know what to look for anyway. If we tore this whole place apart and figured out what was different from before, we might be able to speculate, but there's nothing strange about this room, and there were no clues in sight. In the first place, I'd never been here before. There is no way for me to know what was different if I didn't know how the room usually looked. Don't give up, Maibara. Stop thinking, start looking. For something. In search of something, I tried pulling open the dresser drawers and opened the windows. I didn't uncover anything meaningful, though. Reina was unable to stand around doing nothing, and was looking around the room like I was. Reina? I don't think you'll find Rika by opening the fridge or the cabinet underneath the sink. I just thought they might be hiding. As we were searching, it got noisy outside. Villagers were assembling here, having heard the commotion. Of course, a lot were probably people Mion called. I'll go tell everyone what's going on. The police will be here sooner or later, too. We need to explain the situation to Ishii. Mion began descending, and we followed her out to the front of the house. There was already around 10 adults there, and all of them looked uneasy. I suddenly noticed the old people from the shrine here as well. They were praying for Rika's safety, rubbing their prayer beads. This has gotten bad. This isn't a problem between friends anymore. Mion, is it true Rika and Satoko aren't anywhere to be found? The villagers formed a ring around Mion, swarming her. Mion raised her right hand as if silently telling him to calm down. First, let's check every house according to the council's notification division and see if they're visiting anyone. After all, they could be fast asleep at someone's house and totally unaware we're looking for them. It would definitely be hard to wake up Rika if she'd eaten a good full meal and fallen asleep like a kitten afterwards. How nice if that were the case. I don't want to think about it. It's possible something bad's happened. Mion's face grew remarkably more grim and a wave of silence washed over the adults. We should divide up the work too. We'll go around to all the places we went last night, looking for the mayor. Look around the damp construction site as best we can. You guys search around the school. Right. Let's get a move on. Come on, let's go. Alright, all of you were up all night looking for the mayor. I know you're all low on sleep, but please do your best. Got it. With that as their signal, the adults scattered in every direction. I figured I should scatter somewhere as well, so I started walking unsteadily in a direction no one else went in. I was getting further from people. I didn't feel scared or anything, though. If someone were made to disappear, Shion and I should be the first. It would have been perfectly normal for me to be scared of the dark. However, I didn't feel that way. Why? It was because tonight, someone had already disappeared, so nobody else would disappear, right? It would take some time before I, exhausted as I was, would feel guilt at the cause of my own selfish sense of relief. Satoko and Rika... Are they so small they only count as half a person? I thought the chapter was over. Suddenly my vision cleared and a cold wind caressed my body. This was the hill from which you could see the whole village. Looking down, I could see lights on here and there. I knew the entire village had awoken from its slumber. First Takano and Tomitake, then the mayor, and now even Rika and Satoko had been sacrificed. Word of it was spreading everywhere. The strength in my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found them. Mion would have found me. Mion would have told me I was a worrywart. Reina would be glad we did. They would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared as if I were awakening from a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me. Following my knees, my arms both bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. I couldn't figure out if I was feeling sorrow or frustration. Is this my fault? I couldn't endure the burden of my own sin. I just told Rika about it. They had nothing to do with it, but Rika and even Satoko had been sacrificed. It was like a cross that she and I would each have to bear the weight of until we ourselves were erased. Well, If I'm going that far, the problem started long before that. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start. Yet I lost out to cheap curiosity. I hadn't felt so angry at myself until this very moment. There was a crunching sound. I wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was. Keiichi? Are you okay? It was Reina. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it as though I was having stomach pains. She ran over and rubbed my back like she was trying to make me feel better. It's all my fault. Because of me. It's all my fault. Keiichi's fault? You didn't do anything wrong. Please don't blame yourself for this. I could tell Reina was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. Keiichi, you know why Rika and Satoku disappeared, don't you? What she really meant to say. Because it was an emergency, Reina had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika was safe, but now that we'd actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Reina would start to wonder why. However, with the situation having gone this far, I couldn't tell her now. I didn't want to admit Rika and Satoku had disappeared, but I couldn't let Reina disappear either. Keiichi, if you stay out here in the wind, you'll catch a cold. Reina sat down, bringing her eyes level with mine. Oops. Oops. Didn't mean to bring up the log there. Reina showed me her watch as she said that. He told us children should go back home to sleep. It was long past 1 in the morning. Time was passing too quickly. Had I been crawling around here that long? That's right, he spent an entire hour crawling around on the surface of the hill, clawing the ground. Our character is usually pretty close to losing his mind on a good day. Don't sleep soon. We'll have trouble getting up for school tomorrow. And the adults are really worn out since they were searching for the mayor last night, too. You're saying they'd break up a little earlier tonight. I was upset they weren't allotting as much time to this as we had to search for the mayor, but that was something I, the cause of everything, had no right to criticize him for. Remember, 2 of the people. He is responsible for himself and Shion being in there. It's alright. The police arrived a little while ago. Look, there's police cars coming into the village right now. Hearing that remark, I looked down at the village to see that there were indeed more cars than one would normally expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of their lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. That's right. All the incidents that occurred after Watanagashi were seen as the product of Oyashiro-sama's curse and would be handled in secrecy. Rika and Satoko, too, their disappearance would end up exactly like other serial incidents in the past. Surreptitious, unresolved, declared a mystery, and disappear from memory. Rika's face, her sweet face like a Western doll's, would fade away. So she's like a Barbie. Satoko's smile, her energetic fanged smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember them, the less I'd be able to. I deserve to be called an idiot dozens of times over, and it wouldn't be enough. I couldn't hold back the tears of my own sheer stupidity. I couldn't hold back tears of my own stupidity. Well, at least our protagonist is suffering for his dumb decisions. I don't know what you're blaming yourself for, Keiichi, but you should stop. I wasn't about to deny it, I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Reina out of this. If she found out, she'd become involved. She'd disappear. Please, Reina, could you just leave me alone? Even if I went home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. If I couldn't get to sleep, at least I wanted to search for Rika and Satoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, yet they still hadn't been found. I don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it. It disappeared because of me. I couldn't possibly go to sleep while others were out there searching. I said that to myself in self-deprecation, but I soon realized Reina was silently trying to figure out the meaning in my mumblings. I realized I misspoke. It's Keiichi's fault? Why do you think that? Why? It can't be. Keiichi, you're not at fault. I was happy Reina said these things to me, but she only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew everything was caused by my breaking taboo on the night of the Watanagashi, then even Reina would curse my existence. However, I can't even allow for those curses. That would mean confessing my crimes to Reina. If I spilled even one word of having snuck into the storehouse on the night of the Watanagashi, then even Reina could disappear tomorrow. Gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling. But at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Reina, might disappear. I don't want that. Anything but that. At this time, I need to bear my own cross. Alone. Keiichi, I know you always have friends in your heart. I can really understand feeling like you want to kick yourself. Reina knows, though. It's not Keiichi's fault. You didn't do anything wrong, Keiichi, and I know that. You know that? The shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Reina to figure it out? This is bad, this is bad. No, Reina's gonna disappear, Reina's gonna disappear. Then Reina, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly. Keiichi, are you thinking Reina might disappear now too? Because of the curse? She puts more force into the hand rubbing my head. No need to worry. Reina isn't going anywhere, I promise. How can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone's been sacrificed every night so far. There's no proof it wouldn't happen again tomorrow. There's even less proof, after all, that the sacrifice wouldn't be Reina. I don't care who you are. Please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Just stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to, like the mayor for Shion, Rika and Satoko for me. Shion's hysterical, shouting him back to mind. They must be planning to kill us last of all. They're not killing the first people who come to mind. They start by killing those we're close to. And after they've caused us so much pain, suffering, they'll kill us, yeah? That must be what they're doing. Reina, please don't disappear. Please don't, as long as I'm still here. I can no longer conceal the sobs welling up within me. Come on, Keiichi. Crying doesn't suit you. Let's go back to the others. The housewives are cooking some miso soup for us. It'll warm you up and calm you down. Reina prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood as she urged me to. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves with miso soup in big pots. Many villagers there sipped at the soup as they were given in dead, stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had just been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet. Kei-chan, where did you go? I was worried you disappeared too. Sorry. Mion held out some soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite. Mii-chan, how is it? Did you find any clues? Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank. Not at all. School ended, they went home. Then the two of them went somewhere on their bicycles. Moreover, nobody even saw them riding their bikes, so... When it gets dark out in Hinamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from adults hurrying back home from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange nobody had seen them riding their bikes. Unfortunately, it's the same last night with the mayor. There's no hope. Mion's apathetic tone pricked my nerves, but that anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika until just a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all night last night too, looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. Besides, what about me? I spent time hunched over in indecision all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion. Kei-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Drink this and let's call it quits. Is this the end? Oh no, of course not. Once it's bright out again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. They could have gone to Okonomiya too. People are even saying we should go through all of Shishibone City investigating whether or not there are any witnesses for both girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Kei-chan? Where did you go off to? You vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Suddenly I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry, I'll be more careful. Nothing happened? There wasn't anyone suspicious spying on you or stalking on you? Nothing like that? Mion demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I'd been. Despite being in so much pain, I was frustrated. I was being criticized, but it was my sin. My sin, and I must bear it alone. I must bear it alone. Alright. Alright. Nothing. I'll be careful either way. Sorry. Mion, now aware nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with her shoulders, looking relieved. At least we're only looking for 3 bodies, not 4. Oh, my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. I'd be much obliged if you'd allow me to have some. We heard the repulsive voice of a fat man, who was Uishi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting given the situation. There's not much left. You can have some if you want. Mion didn't like Uishi-san very much. Her cold attitude didn't seem to bother him in the slightest, though. It was like splashing water in a frog's face. Well now, miso soup leftovers have a bit too much salt for my taste. Confound it. Would y'all like any? He recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused. Anyone else find it intensely awkward when you offer people food and they decline it? I assume it's just as awkward. I feel like it's less awkward to decline food than it is to offer food and get declined. The police gotten any hold of any clues? Randa's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup. Oh, don't worry, Missy. Everything's fine. We're searching for them real good. He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. In other words, no progress. That was an annoying way of beating around the bush. In any case, it really has gotten late. All you youngsters ought to get on home and get some sleep. It'll be bad for your health otherwise. Yeah, Kei-chan, Reina, get some rest. These guys get our tax money. They'll handle it for us. We're taxpayers too, you know? It's like we're drinking our own piss. I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Uishi was the only one laughing like an idiot. Okay, seriously, please do your best. Let's go home, Keiichi-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't. Right. I can always bring you home if you need. Kuma, why don't you bring the car around? No thanks. We came on our bicycles, so... No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back. We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just need a ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the cops like that. Reina, however, nodded. Okay, if you insist, we'd appreciate it. It's probably safer if we went back alone. If we went back alone. When I thought about it carefully, I realized Reina was being extremely rational. And now it's decided. Let's get a move on, shall we? Okay, bye. Good night. Reina. Kei-chan. Yeah, Mi-chan, you go to bed soon too, okay? Good night. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika and Satoko still hadn't been found. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Reina showed the police where our bicycles were so that Uishi could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. And he's gonna deliver Reina home first, right? Wait, is Uishi in the car with us? I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down into a seat that would normally hurt my rear end, but at this point it was so very soft, and more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on. Ladies first. We'll start with the little Mrs. house. Called it. He's asking you for a ride on purpose. Uishi's too smart for this. Where do you live? Thank you. My house is, well, She gave directions, I'm sure. Reina's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep. Hello? Mamoru-san, are you asleep back there? When I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Uishi was giving me light slaps to the cheek. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately. Sorry, I just fell asleep. Something was being held under my nose. A clump of metal? It was a can of coffee. It could have been worse. It could have been smelling salts. It's lukewarm by now, but cafe au lait is good even at room temperature. Thanks. I mechanically took the can and opened the pull top. The feeling of warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped and why I was offered coffee. Dude, it was so obvious. He's giving you a ride home so he can talk to you again. To be fair, he's like super tired, so I think anyone would have fallen for this one. Uishi, who'd been in the driver's seat, had at some point moved to the back. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. It was already too late by the time I realized I'd made a mistake. I'm not going to fault Keisha for this one. Today of all days, it didn't look like I'd be getting away. I had a feeling that until Uishi heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go. Please, don't get all formal on me. I'm not going to eat you or anything. My bar sob. Uishi gulped down the last of his coffee and stretched wide, showing me just how relaxed he was. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness. What do you need from me? Need? Oh no, nothing really. You're going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreadable man. That's Uishi for you. Well, I don't need you for anything. I just thought you might need something from me, Maibara. I don't need anything. Oh, I see, really. Are you sure there's nothing? There's only one side door in the back seat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Uishi-san. He's like a year from retirement. He knows what he's doing. I couldn't get away. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Uishi, despite my reticence? I think that's reticence. Reticence? I think that's reticence. Reticence? Anyway, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. The cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer to an amount of time that seemed almost infinite. Here, I was sure you had something you wanted to talk to me about. Uishi exhaled a puff of smoke. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. How much did Uishi-san know? What did he know, and what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made you disappear, if I told him, would he disappear too? I had a feeling I didn't need to worry about that in his case. I wonder how this all ended up happening. Uishi addressed me in a low tone as if he was talking to himself. How all this ended up happening? How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know. You know Jiro Tomitake and Mio Takano-san, right? I know you do, because I personally witnessed you with them during the festival along with Shion. Do you know how Tomitake and Takano-san are doing right now? They've actually, well, passed away. They've been very untimely deaths. Uishi probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected. What's this? Did you already know? Unfortunately for this question in particular, remaining silent was the equivalent of saying yes. Oh, so then did you also know the reason they were cursed like that? People are saying they apparently went into some forbidden building. The storehouse for ritual implements. That forbidden shed stealing away Hinamizawa's bloody-stained past. Were the mistake that started it all happened? Do you know about the rumors? They say the mayor and Rika Furude were cursed because of that too? That would mean it was me and Shion's fault. He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did. What did they call it? A ritual storehouse? They're saying it was bad luck. The lock to it had been replaced by a simpler one which made it easier for thieves to get inside. What? This was news to me. Until last year, it apparently had these big bars and a huge padlock on it. You know, ever since the priest and his wife passed away, Rika Furude has been the one managing the place, right? Apparently she talked to the mayor saying she wanted them replaced with lighter, simpler stuff because the bars were too heavy for her. I didn't know anything about those bars he was talking about, but the lock had certainly been a simple one. It was a pretty cheap one too, and it didn't really fit my impression of what a lock for a place you'd store something as important as ritual implements would look like. What is it supposed to look like, my dude? It's a church. People don't normally steal random shit from churches. Because a small girl, after all, the bars were heavy with rust. They must have caused her a lot of trouble. So the mayor hired a craftsman and replaced the lock with a simple padlock she could open with a key. How does that mean it was bad luck? I'd just like to point out that both the people who disappeared are also people who could get into the storehouse. I'm not saying they went into the storehouse, but my first guess was that they went into the storehouse, especially because nobody can find them. and nobody's gonna check the storehouse. Like, where, like, assuming they didn't jump into the swamp and, you know, sink into the bottom of the swamp. If they were gonna be somewhere, they're in the warehouse. How does that mean it was bad luck? Here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old tight lock. The mayor and Rika replaced it with a cheap lock and key on their own, so thieves broke into it. And apparently that's how it's going down. The explanation's a bit... Letting it slide, certain members of the village delivered punishment upon thieves who stole... Letting that slide, certain members of the village delivered punishment on the thieves who stole into the storehouse, as well as the mayor and Rika who changed the lock. At least those are the whispers that seem to be going around. Maibara, what do you think? What do I think? I don't know what you mean by certain members of the village. Are you familiar with the three families? Representatives from each of them gave short addresses at the Watanagashi Festival's opening ceremony. Did you see them? I came partway through. I don't really. The three families are the three oldest families in Hinamizawa. You give them actual names, the Kimayoshi, Sonozaki, and Furude. They each have quite the lineage, it seems. Long ago, it said that everything in the village was decided by a council of the three. The Kimayoshi, old man Kimayoshi, the mayor's family. Sonozaki, Mion's, and Furude, Rika's family then. After the war, the Sonozaki quickly expanded their influence. Practically speaking, after leading the fight against the construction, during the dam conflict, they jumped to the top of the hierarchy. You see though, in accordance with the old ways, they still decide important village matters only after consulting with the three families. That's why the leaders of the three families each have their own address at the start of the Watanagashi. In other words, the mayor, the old lady currently in charge of the Sonozaki family, and the last remaining member of the Furude, Rika. I heard they were pretty high up, so Rika's family's just as old? Well, as you're aware, she has no relatives. In reality, the family holds pretty much no influence. It seems like people gravitate towards Rika on a personal level though, and I hear that many of the villagers have blind faith in her. It was true, she has an odd charisma amongst the elderly. They all practically worship her. Oh, it's funny thinking of the Red Shrine literature. So what are you telling me this three families shit for? Uishi paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette. I explained a lot, but I suppose it's still not enough. I'm asking because I don't understand. Uishi gave a dry, meaningful grin and blew out another big puff of smoke. Members of the family are disappearing, one after another. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that it's based on some kind of old tradition inherent in Hinamizawa, but I don't know much beyond that. I don't know anything about it either. That's why I'm asking. The leaders of the Kimayoshi and Furude families disappeared, so maybe the leader of the Sonozakis will disappear next? Well, that's a random idea bouncing in my head at the moment. Just kidding, really. The leader of the Sonozaki? Who is it? The current leader is the old lady at their main house, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights have been transferred to her granddaughter, Mion. The visage of Mion giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika sprung back to mind. Huh? She's gonna disappear? I hadn't even thought of that possibility. All my hair stood on end. That's insane. Nobody wants that, right? Of course not. We can't allow that. Slam. Uishi said, grab my shoulders with both hands. Help us, Maibara. If there's anything you've noticed about Mion lately, please tell me. I was going along with him. By the time I realized it was too late, Uishi brought his face in closer, almost close enough to ram into me, waiting for my next words. This pressure. I can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment, I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the seat. Hello? Yep, loud and clear. I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could escape through this opening. I see. Alright, let's head back then. Yeah. Okay. Apparently he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be free, the tension in my body dissipated all at once. It looks like I need to get going. We were just getting to the good part too. It's too bad. Uishi flung open the door, exited, and walked around to the front to the driver's seat. He left the door open. Did that mean I could leave? You really care about your friends, Maibara. An admirable trait for a kid in this day and age. I understand it feels like you're betraying them if you told the police anything. Maibara, It's the middle of the night. Get a good night's sleep, then think about it.
Hello there.
Oh, hello there. Hello there. Just a little bit of courage from you might end up being what saves many of your friends in the end. Did he want to say that the sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika and Satoko? You know this already, but every night since the Watanagashi something has happened. In the past, the curse only occurred once per year. This time, it's been going for days. What a preposterous year this has been. I don't think you can call that preposterous. Why not say something like, if you think it's Mion, I think me and Shion are also options. The night before last night, and now today. There's no proof something won't happen tomorrow as well. It's our job to prevent things before they happen, but for that we need your cooperation, Barbara. I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. I was too sleepy to care. He could have just looked in your pockets or some shit. Probably tired. It's already 3 in the morning. Please get yourself a good rest. Yes, sir. I'll be going now. When I was about to get out, as if to deliver a parting blow, he said in a raised voice, I'll be coming by every day until you feel like talking. Alright? I don't believe in forcing you to confess in an interrogation room is really in fashion these days. Oh my, how times have changed. How times have changed. I couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door probably served the same purpose. After lightly beeping the horn, his truck drove off. I went to the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. I walked over to the staircase. Go right to bed, dude. That was where I lost consciousness. Wait, what? Is he gonna get disappeared? Is he gonna get disappeared inside his own house? Is he gonna get disappeared inside his own house, or was that him just passing out? It's not clear. It's not actually clear. I think that's what they're trying to imply. The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozakis. Alright. At the time, Oryu Sonozaki, who still has the seat today. She's grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and leaves most of the ceremony affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter. It's rumored it has to do with disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood and is permitted the name Demon. She doubtlessly requires caution and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as leaders of the past did. That was a short one. That was a short one. That was a short one. The postal worker hasn't seen anything either. The Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging from the mailbox, so anyone can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in. That's rather careless of them. So when was she last seen? Last seen at the Watanagashi opening ceremony greetings. She apparently returned home right after that. Well, she is pretty old. From what I've heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? Have you found out anything about that? Every Monday, she goes to the assembly hall to practice the Taishogoto? But she didn't go this week. Any calls to say she wasn't going to be there? Has anyone confirmed it? No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while, though, so no one thought it was strange. Moro, why don't we pretend like why don't we pretend we're the town hall and call around 10 o'clock? Figure out whether she's at home. 10 o'clock? Got it. Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with this, he'd been keeping an eye on the 3 families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi and the leader of the Furude had disappeared. There's only one leader left. Oryu Sonozaki, leader of the Sonozakis. She's apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm where she was at a given time. The last leader, hadn't been seen since Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the main house? Or had she... According to Mion, she'd fallen ill and was sleeping it off. I wonder if she's really sleeping. I'd like to take a look at her face and her pulse. You could say that again. The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke. Who is she? About to search for the Sonozaki house in the shrine. You think we'll get them? Uishi didn't respond. Exhaled another cloud of smoke. His surroundings as foggy as his mind. Okay, so they're trying to get into the place. That's a good call. I like where the cops. I like where Uishi and the cops are going. They're like, we have an argument that says like the 3 great families are being targeted. We want to search their houses. It'll probably get shut down, but I mean it's a decent effort. Because your argument is that someone's dead and they're hiding it, right? Or that someone might be in danger of death. I don't know whether that's a great idea or not, though. I don't know if that passes the scrutiny for the cops, but I mean the Sonozakis own the cops anyway, so they probably own the prosecutor and they probably own the DA, so they fucking won't get that warrant if they don't want it. Alright, the demon. The inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon is treated as very sacred. For example, usage of the character demon in names is apparently a right used for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families. Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name. Oryu is written with this character. They say with the character. I'm like, I don't know how to read that, so I'm gonna say Oryu. Okay. This and only this is proof she's a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki. In the same way, Mion, its successor, contains it in her name, with Mi being written as... Yup. It also goes for Oryu's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written differently. It was changed afterwards to something else, which is still read as Akane. Isn't it convenient in Japanese? You can change how your name's written without changing spelling like 100 million times. Oh, it's so bad. Alright. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character, the mayor Kichiro's name, was originally meant demon, which could also be read as ki. It should be said that names using the character aren't limited only to successors of the family. You can even find it in the last names of the 3 families. For example, Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version of it. If you write it in reverse, top to bottom, it clearly resembles the character. Yeah, that makes sense. It has most of the pieces, right? You can kind of see it. You can kind of see it if you stack the 2 on top of each other and like move the top pieces of the symbol. What's that, public? That's like public reason, right? That's public and reason, right? I don't know what that means together. Order? Would that be like order or some shit? Who knows? As for the Furude family, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune teller can be written without interval characters. What's this, like Tente? That's Furude? Interesting. Alright. Okay. I think that with the addition of a demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character, right, the what's this? The symbol for fortune becomes the other fortune. This is fortune? I think that's fortune or store, right? Becomes the version that's used in their name now, which is like old. That's old, right? I think that's old. Old hand? Instead of store hand, old hand? Okay. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written, I don't know what those are. I can't find any reference to the character. But perhaps it's because it's already ingrained into their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the ceremony. I think instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last names. The Zaki in Zaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the Sono Probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it's a complicated mess enclosed by 4 sides. In other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open guts. Interesting. Sonozakis are those who cut a people open. Interesting last name to have for people who aren't killers. Definitely not killers. I'm back. Any dice? How'd it go? Any clues? The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. It was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of the Watanagashi. Chief, the youngest of us take a nap and then switch about. We got a long stretch ahead of us, after all. Let's not push ourselves too hard. Rest up so we can take it easy as we go. I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems willing to sleep, though. Did you tell them yourself, Uishi? Oh my. You don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun, please let everyone sleep in shifts, starting with the youngest. Komiyama-san, please do that. After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat. So, chief, still no good on our request? It's just a rumor among villagers in the first place, you know. It's going to be difficult without much concrete evidence. Even when that evidence might be tucked away in there. We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there. Don't you hate search warrants? Chief, don't start speaking in riddles to me now. We have witnesses that say 4 people, including the 2 who died, went into the forbidden ritual storehouse without permission. This is all reliable information. You might call it information, but they're really only rumors. There's not concrete evidence. Well, it's true we don't have pictures of them sneaking in with cloth tied around their heads. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside the storehouse. Something important enough they'd be erased. Important enough? What would that be exactly? That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place. Anything pointing out the Sonozaki family's connections to violent organizations would be a major contender. Like a pile of Tokarevs? Or a secret poppy production facility? A secret Sonozaki family fortune would also be pretty difficult to discard. Look, Uishi, I know how you feel. However, the storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the shrine, and we need to have proper consideration for the locals when dealing with it. I heard there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down? Anyway, as long as we don't have suitable evidence, we won't get a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki's main house, too. Don't you love needing evidence to get evidence? Especially considering that's the jurisdiction of both Section 4 and the Prefectural Police's Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first. If you say you need preparations, why don't you let me just talk with him directly? Shiga-chan is head of Section 4, right? For crime prevention, it's Yamaumi? It seemed like they'd be quicker to talk if I sat them down at a mahjong table. Chief, you have a visitor. Yikes! Pushing the employee who guided him in right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, given his crested kimono and hakama. Did he not get enough of this over the phone? I'm Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this. This instant. Oh boy. Hello? I'm Division Chief Takasugi. I don't need your name. I could have you demoted on a whim. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Uishi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant of the shrine. I sincerely apologize. Uishi is currently on investigation and he's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out, so please have a seat. Chief's eyes were telling me to get out of there. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll lay down in the nap room. Listen here, the Furude Shrine spent 2,600 years under Imperial calendar, and 2,500 more beyond that. It is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, Orishiro-sama, and spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Hinami-za when the sun comes up to when it sets, and from when the moon rises to when it falls. Who's the idiot who wanted to set foot in there? Besides the right to religion, the most revered right of the people of this country in the Constitution. You dare be so bold as to sully that using your own investigation's negligence as pretext? I will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? I'm angry now, so you're not getting off the hook that easy. Damn, that guy's tilted. He's clearly hiding something. And I need to take a drink, but I think This will be the last of the Higurashi we're going to be playing tonight.